Chapter 861. Junior Valley Master? Junior Valley Master? The shopkeeper saw that Sima Yuyue was in a daze and did not hear what he said. What's wrong? Sima Yuyue asked. I was just saying, should we reply to the people in the valley? The great valley lord said that you should go to the valley whenever you have time. The shopkeeper said. Sima Yuyue thought for a while and said, okay, I'll write a letter. Get someone to bring it back. Yes. Sima Yuyue explained the situation in the letter and also mentioned that she was going to participate in the elixir competition. Yu, are we going back now? When she finished writing the letter and left the shop, it was already dark outside. Let's go back. Sima Yuyue said, I wonder how the competition went today. I don't think so, Little Seven said disdainfully. It's just a bunch of kids playing house. What's there to see? It's nothing for you, but it's different for the students. Sima Yuyue said, the higher the ranking, the more resources they can get, and the stronger they can become. You might think it's not important, but to them, it's something that could affect their lives. All right. Little Seven had never thought about this problem. Hearing her say this, it seemed to be the case. Let's go back. Sima Yuyue patted her head and smiled. By the time they returned to the academy, the day's competition had already ended. Sima Yuyue contacted Sima Yuming and the others before returning to the parting garden directly. After that, Sima Yuyue didn't watch their matches. Instead, she went into her spirit pagoda to study Shi Qiushuang's situation. Almost all of her blood was highly toxic. All kinds of toxins fused together and became sticky. It was very difficult for Shi Qiushuang to circulate in her body. Sigh. Sima Yuyue could not help but sigh as she looked at the bowl of sticky blood. The 2 months she told them was the time outside. 2 months in the real world wasn't enough for her research, so she could only make use of the time difference in the spirit pagoda. Yu, do your best. Ling Long appeared beside her. Her small body floated in the air, her small fists clenched together as she cheered for her. Sigh, Yu, you've been so busy recently. You don't even have time to play with us. Little Roar was lying on the table with his 4 legs facing the sky as he complained. Sima Yuyue poked its head and said, you only know how to play. Can't you see that I've been so busy lately? I know. That's why I've been very obedient recently. I didn't go out and cause trouble for you. Little Roar said. So you still know that you're a troublemaker. Thousand Resonance appeared beside it, her claws pressing against its stomach as she spoke in disdain. Stop pressing. If you continue pressing, I'm going to vomit out what I just ate. Little Roar shouted. His little claws wanted to slap Thousand Resonance, but he realized that it was useless. He couldn't even reach his claws. His comical appearance made everyone laugh. Sima Yuyue was also amused. Seeing that Thousand Resonance still had furry claws while Little Rock and Chongming were in human form, she said, Thousand Resonance, Yiguang, I'll bring you guys out to transform. They never thought that Sima Yuyue would suddenly do something like this. The 2 beasts were a little surprised. Yu, you're so busy. It doesn't matter if we transform a little later. Thousand Resonance said. That's right. Yu, we're not in a hurry. You should busy yourself first. Yiguang also said. It's fine. I won't be able to finish this in such a short period of time. Sima Yuyue said, let's go. I'll transform all of you together today. Yay. Little Roar happily waved his claws. Why are you so excited? You're not transforming. Sima Yuyue said as she poked his round stomach. I'm not transforming, but I can watch them get struck by lightning. Little Roar said, this is something that makes people happy. But why can't you transform? Yiguang asked curiously. My soul is injured. It's not completely healed yet, so I can't transform now. Little Roar sighed, if I were to transform, I would definitely be a handsome man with a graceful and elegant demeanor. You're so narcissistic. Sima Yuyue said disdainfully. However, she still carried him. I think that if you transform, you'll most likely be big and ugly. Because of her, his soul was injured. This had always been her heartache. How can that be? I'm so handsome. If I transform, I'll definitely charm a bunch of beauties. Little Roar moved around in Yo-Yue's embrace and found a comfortable position. Whether it's true or not, we'll know when you transform. Little Rock said. I still don't believe it. Scarlet Queen Bee added. Maybe there'll be a miracle. Thousand Resonance added. No matter what, I think that he'll feel that he's very handsome. Little Dream said with a smile, right, Little Roar? I'm ignoring you guys. Little Roar didn't care about them. In his heart, he firmly believed that he would become a handsome young man. These guys were laughing at him because they were jealous of him. Yes, that was it. Everyone quickly understood his thoughts and laughed silently. This little tsundere. Let's go, I'll bring you guys to transform. Sima Yuyue carried Little Roar out. Su Xiao Xiao was cleaning the courtyard. When he saw Sima Yuyue coming out, he asked, Little junior brother, you're going out? Yes. Sima Yuyue said, my beasts haven't transformed yet. I want to bring them to transform. You're going to be struck by lightning. Han Miao Shuang stuck her head out from upstairs. I haven't seen spirit beasts struck by lightning for a long time. Bring me along. All right. Since you're familiar with the back mountain, you can find me a remote place. Sima Yuyue said. No problem, I'm familiar with the back mountain. Xiao Xiao, let's go together. Don't sweep the courtyard all day. Master will scold you when he comes back. Let's go and take a look at little junior brother's spirit beasts. Han Miao Shuang said. Su Xiao Xiao wasn't interested at first, but when he heard the last sentence, he was moved. Let's go. The three of them went to the back mountain. After flying for half a day, they still couldn't fly out of the mountain range. However, they were far enough from the inner sect. When the lightning struck, it wouldn't alarm the people who were watching the competition. Let's do it here. This area is remote enough. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yuyue sensed for a while. There weren't any powerful spirit beasts nearby. The three of them landed on a mountain top. Do we need to make some preparations? Su Xiao Xiao asked. No need. Sima Yuyue said, we can get through it. You don't need a raise, pills and spirit tools? No need. Sima Yuyue said, you guys can come out. She waved her hand and all the contracted beasts except for Little Dream came out. Han Miao Shuang and the others saw that she had so many contracted beasts. Little junior brother, are they all going to transform? Sima Yuyue shook her head, no. The two of them heaved a sigh of relief. It was terrifying for one person to have so many transformed beasts. Little Rock and Chongming have already transformed. They won't be participating. The rest are the ones who will transform today. Chapter 862. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao had yet to recover from the shock when they heard her say to her contracted beasts, it's too troublesome to do it one by one, let's do it together. Wait. Han Miao Shuang pulled Sima Yoyue's hand and stopped him, little junior brother, do you know that if they all transform at the same time, the transformation lightning tribulation will become even bigger? I know. Sima Yuyue said. Then why did you let them be together? It's alright, senior sister. Sima Yuyue smiled and said, you don't have to worry about this lightning tribulation. When the lightning tribulation comes, I can go and reminisce with it. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao took her words as a joke. Later on, they found out that she really wanted to reminisce. They still wanted to persuade her. After all, the transformation lightning tribulation was extremely important to a spirit beast. It was also very difficult to pass through. Countless sacred beasts had died because of it. However, seeing that Sima Yuyue was not worried at all, they did not say anything more. At the same time, a trace of anticipation appeared in his heart. Senior brother and senior sister, you guys have to stand further away. Don't get involved. Sima Yuyue said, Thousand Resonance, Yaguang, Little Bee, Little Blossom, go and prepare. Yes, Yu. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao quickly flew away. They didn't want to be involved in the lightning tribulation. They also didn't want Thousand Resonance and the others to encounter a greater lightning tribulation because of one more person. As the spirit beasts touched the taboo of transformation, the tribulation clouds began to condense in the sky. Soon enough, dark clouds covered the sky above their heads. Because the four spirit beasts were going through the tribulation together, the difficulty of the lightning tribulation was definitely not as simple as 1 + 1. In a short while, the place had become a black mass. This commotion was felt by all the teachers in the inner court. What happened? Fan Lei asked with a frown. There seems to be some movement at the back of the mountain. Mao San Quan looked at the sky. Do you want to go over and take a look? Fan Lei looked at the students competing in the ring and nodded. He instructed the teacher beside him, you guys stay here and watch. We'll go and see what's going on. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao were shocked when they saw this. Is this still the shape-shifting thunder retribution? It was the first time Su Xiao Xiao had seen such a dark and thick thunder retribution. Damn, this commotion, I'm afraid it will attract the academy's teachers over. Han Miao Shuang said, no, this isn't important. How are they going to survive such a huge tribulation without taking any measures? Look at junior brother. He's not nervous at all. He probably has a plan. Su Xiao said. I hope so. Han Miao Shuang was a little worried. With this commotion, I'm afraid the academy's teachers will arrive soon. Sure enough, Mao San Quan and Fan Lei arrived before the lightning tribulation struck. Where is this? What's going on? Mao San Quan came to their side and asked. It's junior brother's contracted beast that wants to transform. Han Miao Shuang said. A contracted beast's transformation? Fan Lei frowned. How can a mere transformation tribulation have such an aura? If it was just one contract beast, it wouldn't be that bad. But junior brother has 4 contract beasts. They have to transform at the same time. Once the power is stacked, it's like this. Han Miao Shuang said helplessly. Transform at the same time? What is he trying to do? Didn't he think of the power? You're his senior brother and sister. Why didn't you advise him? We did, but junior brother said there was no problem. What nonsense. Where is he? Mao San Quan asked. Han Miao Shuang pointed at the thick clouds and said, before you came, he went inside. Went inside the tribulation clouds? This kid is really daring. I think junior brother should be fine, right? He wasn't worried at all. Su Xiao continued, if not, he wouldn't be so careless. This kid is doing such a dangerous thing again. I think he should be sent to the cliff of reflection to face the wall. If Mao San Quan had a beard, he would be blowing it out of anger. What is he doing inside the tribulation clouds? Fan Lei asked. He said, he's going to reminisce with the tribulation clouds. Sima Yuyue didn't expect the tribulation clouds to develop to such a state in such a short period of time. Small tribulation clouds? Small tribulation clouds? She went inside the tribulation clouds and called out. Why is it you again? Small tribulation clouds saw Sima Yuyue and its eyes flashed with excitement. But it still pretended to be impatient. Sima Yuyue went forward and grabbed the transparent little rabbit-shaped cloud spirit in her hand and said, all right, small tribulation cloud. Your eyes have already betrayed you. Did you miss me? Why would I miss you? Small tribulation cloud released some lightning, but it didn't affect her at all. You really didn't miss me? Sima Yuyue laughed evilly. Then why are your eyes shining when you look at me? Whose eyes are shining? Small tribulation cloud denied it firmly. It wouldn't let this guy see through its thoughts. You didn't miss me? All right, then I'll go back. She said that, but she didn't put her down. How could small tribulation cloud understand the thoughts of humans? When it heard her say that, it thought she was really going to leave and admitted defeat. All right, I missed you. I just missed your wine. Do you still have the wine from last time? Sima Yuyuan knew that this little guy was craving for her fruit wine. According to the speed at which small tribulation cloud drank, the wine she left for it wasn't enough at all. It must have been gone a long time ago. But she didn't attract the lightning tribulation recently, so it couldn't find her and could only crave for it. Here, for you. She took out a jar of fruit wine. Small tribulation cloud immediately broke free from her hand and dived into the jar. Gulp gulp, the jar of wine was quickly emptied by it. How is it? Is the wine good this time? Sima Yuyue asked with a smile. Not bad, not bad. It doesn't taste the same as before, but it's still very good. Do you have more? Small tribulation cloud looked at her. Yes, I prepared a lot. Sima Yuyue said, but shouldn't you do some proper business first? Proper business? Small tribulation cloud thought for a moment. Oh right, your contracted beast is about to transform. But don't worry, there's still some time before the lightning strikes. I'll drink a jar first. After saying that, it dived back into the jar and started drinking again. Sima Yuyue saw the rabbit's tail sticking out of the jar and reached out to poke it. She said in a negotiating tone, Small tribulation cloud, let's discuss something. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Small tribulation cloud seemed to be replying to her, asking her what she wanted. Just as it was about to finish drinking, Yu grabbed it by the tail and pulled it out of the wine jar. She didn't even have the chance to speak before small tribulation cloud rejected her. No, I can't cheat. Chapter 863. You can't throw the game? No. The little tribulation cloud's attitude was firm. Then why did you go easy on me last time? Did I? The little tribulation cloud refused to admit it. Yes. You remembered wrongly. So you don't want to drink anymore? Sima Yue threatened. You're bad. The little tribulation cloud was threatened. It glared at her with its large eyes, looking extremely innocent. Am I bad or are you bad? Sima Yue flicked her forehead. You drank my wine and didn't do anything for me. Who are you calling bad? You. The little tribulation cloud didn't hesitate to accuse him. You bully. No, you're bullying the tribulation cloud. If there were tears in her eyes, they would have rolled down her cheeks by now. All right. I'm not bullying you. I'm just asking for your help. We are friends. Wouldn't it be easy for you to do something like this for a friend? Humph. The little tribulation cloud tilted its head to the side. It was so angry that it refused to look at her. Alas. Sima Yue let out a long sigh. So you don't treat me as a friend. It's so sad. I've already treated you as a friend. I know that you like to drink fruit wine, so I specially brewed several flavors for you. I wanted to give them to you when we meet this time. It seems that I was thinking too much. There are many more flavors. The little tribulation cloud immediately turned its head, its eyes sparkling. So what if there is? You don't treat me as a friend. I can only give it to other friends. Sima Yue said sadly. Give it to me first, and I'll take you as my friend if you give it to me. The little tribulation cloud looked at her hurt expression and said. Clever little brat. Sima Yue snickered in her heart, but her face was full of grievance. Really? Of course, I, Cloud Spirit, am a man of my word. What a man of his word. She didn't feel it at all. So you're called Cloud Spirit. Sima Yue said. I'm not a cloud spirit, I'm a cloud spirit, the little tribulation cloud emphasized. Isn't that the same thing? How is that the same thing? Cloud Soul isn't my name. I'm Cloud Soul. The little tribulation cloud emphasized. Alright, where's the wine? Sima Yu saw how anxious she was and stopped teasing her. She took out 2 to 3 times more wine than the last time and a few bottles of pills and said, "Keep it well. After this time, you'll have to wait until the next time." Seeing so much fruit wine, the cloud spirit was very excited. With a wave of its little paw, a dark cloud floated over and took away all the wine jars. Then, it said with satisfaction, "The tribulation cloud has already formed. There's no way to change it. However, I can suppress this lightning." But how much water should he put in? It's a good thing for spirit beasts to go through the manifestation tribulation. Sima Yu smiled and said, "Euler, you can do whatever you want. Just don't kill them." The 4 beasties who were about to transcend their tribulations almost vomited blood when they heard her words. What did he mean by it was fine as long as he didn't get struck to death? What if he was crippled? Alright, it wasn't a big deal if he was crippled. Sima Yu wanted to help them before, but now that she had the cloud spirit's guarantee, she didn't have to go. Thus, she sat on the tribulation cloud with the cloud spirit, drinking fruit wine while watching Thousand Resonance and the rest get struck by lightning. What happened here naturally couldn't escape Fan Lei and the rest's divine senses. They didn't expect her to hook up with the tribulation cloud. With such a cheating tool, why would she need to worry about the lightning tribulation? No wonder she didn't even do any preparations. However, seeing the electric current flowing around her body, the 2 of them had doubts in their hearts. Such a strong electric current flowed through her body. How could she be completely fine? Do you still remember that I told you before that when we were in the dark forest, she was the one who attracted the lightning down? I think there should be something in her body that can attract the lightning tribulation. And that thing can make her immune to lightning. Fan Lei guessed boldly. Mao Sen Quan thought that this explanation was the most reasonable. Fan Lei's guess was mostly correct, but there was one thing that wasn't completely correct. That was that Yue wasn't immune to lightning. Instead, she absorbed all the lightning into her body. Purple top-grade sky lightning hissed as it absorbed the lightning. It was so happy that it wanted to die. This fellow had been too busy recently. It hadn't been struck by lightning for a long time, so it didn't have anything to eat. Sima Yu could clearly feel the happiness of the little ball in the lightning pool. Thinking about how it usually ignored her, she thought to herself that this fellow was really treating anyone as its mother. It didn't have any morals at all. Speaking of which, little tribulation cloud, you've existed on this continent for so long. The number of people you've struck is probably uncountable, right? Sima Yu asked. Yeah. Little tribulation cloud said, but I can't remember those people, so I don't think I've struck that many people. The area you're in charge of is so big. There will definitely be situations where people need to undergo tribulation at the same time, right? Then what will you do? It's very simple. Little tribulation cloud said, I have so many clones. When I feel that someone is about to undergo tribulation, one of them will automatically come out and help that person undergo tribulation. Then how do you remember me? It didn't take long for this fellow to recognize her. Heh, isn't it because I'm unlucky? Every time you undergo tribulation, I'm the one who comes personally. Little tribulation cloud looked as if it regretted knowing her. Don't make such an expression. Sima Yu said, you've been a tribulation cloud for so many years, but you've never spoken to anyone. You've never made friends with anyone. Now that I'm with you, how great is that? Heh. Little tribulation cloud gave her a rabbit butt. However, although it didn't say anything, it still acknowledged her in its heart. Otherwise, it wouldn't be sitting here drinking and chatting with her. With the little tribulation cloud going easy on them, the 4 beasts' transformation lightning tribulation was very good. The strength of the lightning wasn't strong or weak. It was just enough to train their bodies, but it wouldn't take their lives. The time between the lightning strikes was long, giving them enough time to adjust their state. Even the last few bolts of lightning, which should have been more powerful, were a little weak. Under the little tribulation cloud's control, those few bolts of lightning didn't hurt them at all. I'm done. I'm leaving. Next time, brew more for me. After Sima Yuyue heard it finish speaking, she felt as if a foot had kicked her. She flew down from the tribulation cloud. She landed on the ground and waved at the little tribulation cloud, saying, "Little tribulation cloud, goodbye. I'll miss you. You have to miss me too." "I won't miss you." Little tribulation cloud actually replied her. However, this reply seemed to be hiding something. "Next time, I'll prepare more wine for you." Little tribulation cloud paused, but still floated away. However, it definitely listened to Yoyue's words. Sima Yuyue sent the little tribulation cloud away before observing the beast's situation. Chapter 864. At this moment, they were enveloped by the light of their transformations. They couldn't see what was happening inside, but they could feel that their auras were getting stronger and stronger. Copy URL access. My weakness was healed in an instant. When the light dissipated, the four beasts had all transformed into their human forms. They stood together, causing everyone's eyes to light up. Thousand Resonance transformed into a seductive man with a pair of fox-like eyes that seduced people's souls. Yaguang transformed into a masculine man. His facial features were rougher, but he gave off a different kind of beauty. The flowers in Little Flower's original form were scary, but her human form was beautiful and cute. It would be great if she could change her bloodthirsty eyes. However, she had eaten so many humans and demons that it would be difficult for her to change this habit. The Scarlet Queen Bee usually looked small, but when it transformed into a human form, it didn't lose to other spirit beasts at all. That figure and Little Blossoms together gave off a sense of déjà vu when Easterners and Westerners on Earth stood together. "Yu, we've succeeded," Xiao Hua said happily. "In the future, we'll be able to transform into human form." When she was happy, little flowers suddenly bloomed all over her body. "Little Blossom, if others see you like this, they'll think they've seen a ghost." Little Roar flew over and teased. "You're the ghost." A pink flower appeared in her hand. She hugged Little Roar and tried to insert it into his head, but no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't insert it. She then conjured a long leaf and wrapped it around his neck. Don't put such an ugly flower on my head." Little Roar waved his four short legs in protest. "Hurry up and take it down for me." It stretched out its short legs and tried to pull the flower down, but it couldn't pull off the stem. "Just wear it. It looks pretty good," Little Blossom said against her will. "You guys are too bad." Little Roar broke free from Little Blossom's hand and threw himself into Sima Yoyue's embrace, crying, "Yu, look at them, they only know how to bully me." "Alright, Xiao Hua, I'm just playing with you." Sima Yuyue patted its back and comforted it, but she did not take the flowers down. Yaguang loosened his arms and said happily, "So this is what it's like to transform into a human. It's indeed much more convenient than beast form." Little Roar could see through the crook of Sima Yoyue's arm. Seeing them like this, he felt a little disappointed. They were all in human form, and it seemed like it was the only one in beast form. "It's alright, you can transform when your soul recovers," Sima Yuyue said, "but I still think that you're cuter when you don't transform." "Yu is a bully," Little Roar complained. "You're not human," Sima Yuyue said with a smile. "We didn't bully you. We all love you. Yu, over there." Thousand Resonance pointed at Fan Lei and the others. When Sima Yuyue saw the four of them, she recalled the commotion she had caused and felt her scalp go numb. However, when she saw their gazes, she knew that she couldn't escape this time. She could only brace herself. She flew over with her beasts and bowed to Fan Lei and the others. She smiled and said, "President Fan, Director Mao, you're here too. You caused such a huge commotion, how could we not come?" Mao Sen Quan stared at her. Cough cough, this was purely an accident. Sima Yuyue said, "I didn't think that the lightning tribulation would become like this so quickly. I thought that it would be slower, and after discussing with the little tribulation cloud, I wouldn't cause any commotion. Who knew that the little tribulation cloud would be so fast? It's a good thing that this place is remote. Otherwise, who knows how big of a commotion it would cause? Who knows, it might even delay the billboard competition. Fan Lei said. Cough cough, we specially chose a more remote location. Sima Yue explained, so she didn't want to disturb others from the start. These are your contracted beasts. Mao Sen Quan looked at the transformed beasts behind her and asked. Yes. What about your other two? Sima Yue waved her hand, and Little Rock and Chongming came out as well. Now, other than Little Dream and Crimson Flame who were in the Spirit Pagoda, all of her contracted beasts were here. I didn't feel anything when I saw them one by one, but now that I see them all together, I realize that Junior Brother's contracted beasts are all amazing. Han Miao Shuang exclaimed. Isn't that so? Even I don't have so many contracted beasts. Fan Lei looked at all the humanoid beasts with envy. Junior Brother's mental strength is beyond our imagination. Su Xiao exclaimed. Principal Fan, Instructor Mao, don't you all need to go back? Sima Yue couldn't stand their teasing, and quickly changed the topic. It doesn't matter whether we go to the competition or not. We thought that someone had invaded the school, so we came to take a look. We didn't expect you to be the one who caused the commotion. Fan Lei said, since there's nothing, let's go back. Mao San Quan nodded, and the two of them returned to the competition grounds. After they left, Su Xiao and Han Miao Shuang crossed their arms and looked at her. Senior brother, senior sister, why are you looking at me like that? Sima Yue was scared by their stares. Junior brother, when did you become friends with Calamity Cloud? Han Miao Shuang asked. We didn't know at all. It's a coincidence, we haven't known each other for long, we met when I was struck by it the last time. Sima Yue said. You were struck by lightning and you became friends with it? They didn't believe it. When they saw the Calamity Cloud, they felt like the sky was going to collapse. If it wasn't for the Calamity Cloud restraining its power, Ye Guang and the others would have turned into ashes after 2 strikes, let alone passing through the lightning tribulation and transforming into human form. This wasn't something a normal friendship could do. If everyone was on good terms with the Calamity Cloud, the world would be in chaos. That's because I was struck by it too many times. Sima Yue said sadly, you don't know how many times I was struck by the Calamity Cloud. I was struck when I was advancing, Little Rock was struck when he transformed, and even when I was refining pills, I was struck. And my character has always been bad, I met it every time, and we got to know each other. This is what they mean by, no discord, no concord. What do you mean by, no discord, no concord? I think it was completely seduced by you. Su Xiao didn't believe her. Tell me, did you use your wine to seduce it? That's because it liked it. Sima Yue said, this is called giving good wine to a friend. TSK Han Miao Shuang rolled her eyes at her, showing that she didn't believe her. Junior brother, since you're so close with the Calamity Cloud, why don't you tell it that when we refine pills in the future, the pill tribulation shouldn't be so powerful, it hurts me every time. Alright, I'll try the next time we meet. But looking at its arrogant little face, I don't know if it will agree. Sima Yue replied. Although she said that she wasn't sure, she thought that it should be fine to give it a few more jars of wine. Chapter 865. Sima Yue recalled that the beasts had never gone out to play. Although they had followed her to many places, they were usually in the Spirit Pagoda and had never gone out by themselves. Therefore, he told them to go around the city, take a look at the scenery, and go out for a walk. There was no need to rush back. Crimson Flame wouldn't go, but Little Dream went with him. The Spirit Pagoda suddenly became much quieter because it was always the few of them who were causing trouble. Yue felt that she could study Shi Qiu Shuang's blood properly now. However, she had never been to the Devil's Cave and did not know the situation there. Therefore, she did not know what kind of poison could cause Shi Qiu Shuang's body to shrink, fester, and not be able to see light. Shi Qiu Shuang refused to tell her the situation, so it was more troublesome for her to study it. At first, she was even a little confused. You can try your blood. Mo Sha suddenly appeared beside her, giving her a fright. You're finally out. Sima Yuyue was surprised to see him, but she was happy to see him. Yes. Mo Sha nodded. Seeing the joy in her eyes, he felt that he should have come out earlier. You've finally recovered. Thinking of how weak he was before, she still felt a lingering fear in her heart. How could you be so foolish to actually run to the primal chaos world? What if we can't get out? I knew you wouldn't be unable to come out. Mo Sha said confidently. Idiot. Even if I can't come out, I'll only become a living dead, I won't really die. With your ability, it's easy to break the contract. Sima Yu said, but if you're trapped inside, you won't be able to get out. You are not allowed to do such dangerous things in the future. Yes. Mo Sha faintly replied. She didn't know if he took her words to heart. How are you doing now? Sima Yuyue did not know much about souls and did not know how he looked like. There's nothing else. Mo Sha said, although he's been sealed for so many years, Azure's soul power is still very strong. I've absorbed all of his soul power and converted it into mine. That means you're doing well. She smiled brightly when she heard the news. Where is your senior brother? Mo Kazan asked. I'm still in the Sage Pavilion, but I'll be there for the pill competition. Sima Yuyue said, are you going to find senior brother to fuse with? Yes. Originally, they needed to prepare some things in the demon realm, but they didn't expect to encounter a great emperor's soul. So now, they didn't need to prepare those things. You only need to bring some basic things over. Mo Sha said, that old thing from the Sage Pavilion is eyeing my body covetously. Your senior brother's strength is not strong now. If that old fellow really gets there first, your senior brother and I won't be able to live. Then you guys should fuse during the pill competition this time. Sima Yuyue said, in the past, senior brother was either too weak or you were injured. I hope you guys can fuse successfully this time. After the billboard ranking competition ends, take some time off. I have something for you to do. Mo Sha said. Will it take a long time? Sima Yuyue asked. It's not long. It won't delay your pill competition later on. Mo Sha said. How long will it take? You have something to do? I originally planned to recruit people after the billboard ranking competition. Sima Yuyue said. If it's fast, it'll take 2 to 3 months. Mo Sha said, if it's slow, you can postpone the recruitment plan. Sima Yuyue nodded. She had to be more proactive about Mo Sha's matters. She had to settle his matters first. If she really didn't have time later on, she didn't have to rush to recruit people now. The last time you said those words in the chaotic world. Oh right, you said just now that my blood can cure her poison? Sima Yuyue interrupted him, not letting him mention that. Mo Sha looked at her blushing face and his heart itched. He subconsciously reached out his hand to touch her face. However, he didn't touch anything. Damn it, his soul was too strong. He thought that he already had a body. He didn't expect that he would pass through it. However, this didn't matter. He condensed his right hand, and the originally transparent hand became like a normal person's. Sima Yuyue dodged backwards, avoiding his hand, saying, I'm asking you a question. I'll answer you after I touch you. Mo Sha said seriously. Sima Yuyue was speechless. Was there anyone who was so shameless in broad daylight? Mo Sha reached out his hand, but she couldn't dodge anymore. If he couldn't touch her, this guy definitely wouldn't let it go. Her silky smooth skin, soft touch. His heart began to ripple. However, before he could make his next move, Sima Yuyue took a step back, saying, now you should answer my question. Mo Sha raised his eyebrows. I've tried to put my blood in before, but it didn't work. Sima Yuyue said, you also asked me to put my blood in just now. Could it be that I didn't put enough? No. Mo Sha said. I'm not talking about using your sacred light physique's blood. I'm talking about the sacred darkness physique's blood that you've neglected. That's useful. Mo Shah came to the table and looked at the bowl of viscous blood. That person's body isn't normal anymore. Her body was invaded by an unknown poison. All these years, their poison master used poison to fight poison, injecting a lot of poison into her body. Now, there's no cure for her body. However, if we know what was in the beginning and the poison that she took later on, there's a cure. Sima Yuyue said. However, she doesn't plan to tell you that the poison master was killed by Little Seven. Your path won't work. Mo Shah denied. Then what you said, the sacred darkness physique's blood, will that work? Sima Yuyue asked. The sacred light physique's blood is useful for curing poisons. However, what you don't know is that the sacred darkness physique's blood is actually a type of poison. It's because of this poison that people with darkness can cultivate very quickly. Mo Shah said. You're talking about using poison to fight poison? Sima Yuyue was a little uncertain. Previously, Lei Tianquan fed Shi Qiu Shuang a lot of poison to fight poison with poison. However, it didn't have any effect. Will using the sacred darkness physique's blood work? The sacred darkness physique's blood is more toxic than you can imagine. Mo Shah said. Moreover, aren't you in the experimental stage now? Why not give it a try? Yu thought about it and agreed. Hence, she dived in again and started using her own blood as the entry point for the antidote, hoping that she would find something this time. This time, Mo Shah wasn't in a hurry to retrieve the devil's snare bracelet. Instead, he stood at the side and watched her research quietly. Chapter 866. Sima Yuyue did not care about anything when she was busy. Although Mo Shah was watching from the side, he couldn't affect her. Mo Shah looked at her busy and serious appearance, and the corner of his mouth rose slightly. This girl actually said those words to him in the chaos world. He had never properly told her about this. Does that count as a confession? Does she like him as much as he likes her? The Azure Sea Emperor's soul entered his soul and said before disappearing, if you like her, then protect her well. Don't repeat my mistakes. It turned out that all the things I did before were because I liked her. Not only had the Azure Sea Emperor given him the power of his soul, but he'd also infused his emotions into his soul. The love of the soul. If you love me, you have to pamper me, she said playfully in the primal chaos world. What counts as spoiling her? He had never been with a woman before, so he didn't know what it meant to be pampered. It's gonna be like she said. If it was her request, he wouldn't refuse. I think that's easy enough to satisfy. Sima Yuyue forced the black blood out of her body. She cut her finger with a knife and dripped the blood into an empty bowl. She had never seen her own black blood before. She thought that the highly toxic blood should be extremely smelly, but she didn't expect it to have a faint fragrance. Mo Shah couldn't smell it, but looking at Sima Yuyue's expression, he knew that it was a light fragrance. I'm curious as to why your blood has a fragrance. Sima Yuyue nodded. Do you know? Your blood doesn't smell very good to normal humans. But to people with the dark attribute, it's a fatal fragrance. Deadly fragrance. Sima Yuyue was confused. Although the sacred light physique's blood can detoxify the poison, it's not enough to cause a stir in the human world. However, the sacred body of darkness is different. Your blood can speed up the cultivation of the ghost clan. That fragrance will make them go crazy. In order to obtain it, they will do anything. Mo Shah explained. In other words, if you go to the ghost realm and let others know that you have the sacred body of darkness, if you don't have a strong enough strength, and if you don't have a strong enough influence, then you may face endless pursuit. It can speed up one's cultivation. Sima Yuyue could not help but twitch her mouth when she heard his description. When she came to this world, she turned into Tang Seng's meat. Are you the same? She asked. Was your body the same to the people of the demon realm back then? Mo Shah silently. You've been pursued many times. At the start. Mo Shah recalled. At that time, I had just arrived in the devil world and didn't know anything. I didn't know what the races were, nor did I know their specialties or what they were good at. At that time, I just thought Yuyue. But my curiosity didn't last long. Why? Because towards the end, I no longer have the time and energy to be curious, pursued. Yes, they are being hunted down. They are being hunted endlessly. At S's Uua. At Uua Vua. Tites Uua. You were alone in the devil realm, with no relatives or friends. You had to face the inescapable net of the entire devil realm. If you wanted to survive, how difficult would that be? Sima you could imagine his situation at that time, and her heart ached for him. And then? He was originally a young man in the human world. He was abandoned by the humans and had no choice but to go to the demon world alone. It was almost impossible for an ordinary person to survive in the inescapable net. After that, I went to a place. When I came out of there, not many people dared to kill me. Those people who came were all killed by me. Over time, no one dared to have any evil thoughts. What about your family? When you were in trouble, didn't you go to them? I did, but all I got was another betrayal. Mo Shah said lightly, but the word again, the word betrayal, revealed a deep sorrow. Then what happened to them? I killed them. Mo Shah looked at the distant mountain range and said, when I became the Devil King, I killed them all. My grandfather, grandmother, uncles, all of them were killed. Family members who didn't care about you, family members who wanted to kill you. They hurt you more than the average person. Sima Yuyue didn't think that he was a cold-blooded person. Not everyone was as lucky as her to have a happy family and loved her brother and grandfather so much. For example, Bei Gong Tang. When Mo Shah heard her words, his heart trembled and he turned to look at her. Her gaze was so clear and the smile on her lips was so warm. It made his cold heart melt. She understood him. When others knew that he killed his own clan, they only blamed him and hated him. Especially when they found out that he didn't even let the young children off, they felt that he was a murderous demon king. But they didn't know that those children were also one of the people who wanted to kill him. They even used their family and age to set a trap for him, almost causing him to lose his life. What he did to them was what they did to him in the past. Don't worry. As long as you don't betray me, I won't betray you. Sima Yuyue said. Mo Shah looked at her for a long time before nodding his head. Although her feelings for him were conditional, he had never thought of betraying her. At most, he only thought of killing her in the beginning when he regained his freedom. But now, not only would he not kill her, he would protect her and stay with her. So, he wouldn't betray her and he believed that she wouldn't betray him. Continue talking about your matter. He was still not used to showing his emotions. He had always been overbearing and didn't know how to be gentle. Okay. Sima Yuyue didn't want to talk about his matters and make him sad. At this moment, in her eyes, he was no longer a high and mighty demon king. He was just a normal person who had been hurt before. Take a portion of her blood and put a drop of yours in. Mo Shah instructed from the side. Sima Yuyue followed his instructions and used a green jade bowl to get half a bowl of poisoned blood. Then, she put a drop of her own blood in it. When the two types of blood mixed, it made a sizzling sound. Shi Qiushuang's blood began to boil and bubbles the size of rice grains appeared. When the bubbles burst, a pungent smell assaulted their nostrils. Sima Yuyue couldn't help but cover her nose. However, she didn't leave and continued to observe the situation. Chapter 867. The blood continued to churn. As the black mist continued to spread out, the blood became more and more transparent. It was no longer as sticky as before. Sima Yuyue observed carefully and recorded every 2 minutes. After more than 10 minutes, the movement in the bowl finally stopped. It's really useful. She used the jade rod to cut a few times, and the blood had changed greatly. Yes, we can continue researching. Mo Shah said. Sima Yuyue nodded and continued her research. Mo Shah returned to his silence, watching her study it over and over again. When he was happy, he said, that Shi Qianji, his poison skills aren't bad. If you want to go the route of fighting poison with poison, you can go ask him. Why didn't you say so earlier? Sima Yue glared at him and continued her research. Let me try first. If it doesn't work, I'll go find him. He didn't believe her at all. She didn't believe that she couldn't find an antidote. Mo Sha saw through her little thoughts and only smiled, not saying anything else. However many days Sima Yue spent researching in the spirit pagoda, Mo Sha watched from the side. He had never felt such a strong desire to look at her. As long as he looked at her, his heart would be satisfied. 7 to 8 days passed in the blink of an eye. 70 to 80 days had passed in the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue finally found some clues. On this day, Han Miao Shuang came to look for her. She had no choice but to stop her research and go out. Senior sister, why are you here? Sima Yue asked as she let her in. I know you've been busy recently, so I came to find you for something. Han Miao Shuang said, do you know what day it is tomorrow? What day is tomorrow? Sima Yue blinked and asked. I knew you didn't know. Han Miao Shuang rolled her eyes at her. Tomorrow is the second round of competition. As the first in the qualifier, you need to participate in the competition tomorrow. The first round of the written test is already over. Why is it so fast? Sima Yue asked in surprise. It's not that fast. More than 10 days have passed. Han Miao Shuang said, they know that you're in closed-door cultivation and didn't notice the time, so your friends asked me to call you so that you won't be late tomorrow. I understand. Thank you, senior sister. Alright, if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. You can continue with your work. Sima Yue sent Han Miao Shuang away and entered the spirit pagoda. She asked Little Spirit to take note of the time while she continued to research the antidote. The next day, under Little Spirit's reminder, she arrived at the competition venue on time. Seeing her, who had not appeared for many days, everyone smiled and greeted her. Yue, you're finally here. He-Fong hugged her shoulder and said, if you hadn't come, I would have thought that you were going to quit the competition. I was anxious for 2 days. Sima Yue smiled at him and said, don't worry, I've agreed to compete with you. Even if we don't meet in this competition, I'll still compete with you in the future. Really? He-Fong was overjoyed. You should have told me earlier. Then I wouldn't have to worry for 2 days. You're not the one who should be worried. We've already told you that Yue is in trouble, yet you still have to worry. Fatty Chu walked over and pulled away Yue's hand from Yue's shoulder. I'm just worried when I see him. He-Fong said. What a battle maniac. Actually, in his heart, he already knew that he would not be able to defeat Yue. But if he did not compete, he would not be able to let go. A group of people entered the arena and the teacher came in not long after. The teacher announced the rules. This time, they would not be ranked according to their ranking. Instead, everyone would draw lots and be ranked together. If they met someone who was stronger than them, then they would be considered unlucky. Everyone went up to draw lots in order. Including the 500 people who were eliminated from the previous round, there were a total of 600 people. Sima Yue followed everyone to line up. When she reached the lottery box, she reached in and took out a slip of paper. Number 20, opponent number 19. Sima Yue liked this number. She was at the front of the line so that she could go back and study it after the competition. She waited for a while at the competition venue. A pair of contestants would take about an hour if they were fast, and 2 hours if they were slow. She was in the second round and had finished her competition in the morning. She was very lucky that her opponent was not very strong. When the opponent saw that it was her, he did not take her seriously at first. She was just a new student who was lucky enough to get first place in the qualifiers. She was definitely not strong. Therefore, he did not even say his name and directly said to her, let's start. He thought that he would win the competition easily. But in less than a minute, he was already standing below the arena. Looking at Yue who was standing in front of him, he did not know how to react. How did he get down there? It was as if he suddenly appeared in front of him, grabbed his body and threw him down. Arena number 5, Sima Yue wins. The referee's voice rang in his ears, completely waking him up. He could not believe that he was eliminated just like that. But since the referee had already announced the result, he could only accept it. This was the first time someone had defeated an opponent in such a short period of time since the start of the Billboard ranking competition. Everyone in the spectator stands was stunned. Sima Yue turned around and left the arena. When she passed by her opponent, she said, "Thank you for letting me win." Her opponent's face turned red. She returned to the viewing platform. Sima Yuming and the others were already used to seeing her end the battle so quickly. However, Tang Yan and the others were extremely surprised. "Yue, you're too strong. You're my idol." "Yes, that kind of idol." Tang Yan looked at her with admiration. How could anyone end a battle so quickly? Furthermore, it was a new student against a senior. The most important thing was that she did not use any spirit energy in the battle. Nobody knew how strong she was. Idol? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Pfft, He Feng and the others laughed. They had heard Fatty Chu and the others say that she was their idol, but they did not hear this explanation. "I didn't mean that. Yue, you can't misunderstand me," Tang Yan said. "I'm just teasing you." Sima Yue said, "I'm done with the competition. I'll go back first. Remember to inform me when the competition is over." "Okay." He Feng and the others watched as Sima Yue went back just like that. They were curious as to what she was doing. She was so busy that she did not even have time to watch the competition. Tang Yan asked Sima Yulin who was beside him. Sima Yulin looked at Yue's back and said with heartache, "She's busy with something that we can't help with." "Is she always so busy?" "Yeah, she's always been busy. Ever since I met her, she's always been so busy that she rarely has time for herself." Chapter 868. They had seen Sima Yue's hard work and sacrifice, and their hearts ached for her. They knew the responsibility on her shoulders, so they couldn't persuade her to slow down. They could only stay by her side and hope that they could advance and retreat together with her. This was her unique temperament. She always made the people around her willing to be with her, and at the same time, made everyone look forward to their own future. Because in their opinion, the future they created with her would be even more exciting. Sima Yue returned to the parting garden and entered the spirit pagoda. Shi Qiushuang's poison was making some progress. She needed to strike while the iron was hot. This way, it would be more beneficial to find the antidote. When they entered, Mo Sha was playing with Ling Long, and there was a faint smile on his face. "The match is over." He looked up at her. "Yeah, it just so happens that mine was in the front, so I came back as soon as I finished. Do you want to continue researching?" Mo Sha asked. "Yes." Sima Yue walked over and patted Ling Long. "It's best to solve this problem during the competition. After the competition, you can apply for leave to do other things." As for the other matters, it referred to working for Mo Sha and building his own forces. She went to her alchemy room and saw the equipment on the table. She let out a long sigh. Ever since she entered the inner courtyard, she had heard about the wind cloud ranking. She had always wanted to participate in this competition to see where she ranked among the younger generation of this continent. She wanted to see what the outstanding youths of this continent were capable of. However, she didn't expect something like this to happen at the start of the competition. She had no choice but to focus on detoxification. She didn't have the time or energy to watch the competition. When she thought of this, she felt rather helpless. However, thinking about it was just thinking about it. She still had to continue fighting and resolve this matter as soon as possible. Thus, she did not leave the second round of the competition until the end. Before the third round of the competition, Han Miao Shuang came to look for her again, reminding her to participate in the third round of the competition the next day. After the second round of eliminations, there were only 300 contestants left. Following the same rules, everyone went to the stage to draw their own number. This time, her number was at the back, and it was a number that she disliked very much. 250, I actually became a 250 this time. She teased herself when she saw her number. She didn't have a turn for the first 3 days of the 150 battles, so she stayed in the Spirit Pagoda for another 3 days. On the morning of the 4th day, she went on stage. Before entering the arena, she didn't even know who her opponent was. I'm Luo Ziyuan, ranked 96th in the previous ranking. Yoyue's opponent said, I know you, a genius among the new students. I watched the match between you and the leader of the Thunderbolt Society. I know that your strength is definitely not something a freshman should have, so I won't lower my guard like the previous person. Sima Yuyue felt honored to be valued by her opponent. He didn't look down on her, wasn't arrogant, and didn't back down. She appreciated that. Sima Yuyue. Please enlighten me, senior. She cupped her hands and said. Please. Although Luo Ziyuan didn't underestimate her, his strength was far behind hers, so there was no suspense in this competition. She subdued her opponent in half an hour. I lost. Luo Ziyuan looked at the long sword against his neck and said calmly. Sima Yuyue didn't make things difficult for him. After he admitted defeat, she kept her sword and said, Thank you for letting me win. The referee saw that Luo Ziyuan had admitted defeat and announced loudly, Arena number 2, Sima Yuyue wins. Hearing the referee's announcement, the two of them went down the arena together. Sima Yuyue had a good impression of him, so she chatted with him for a while. In the Spirit Pagoda, Mo Sha saw her talking and laughing with a guy. He felt weird and wanted to send that guy flying with a slap. Although he felt uncomfortable when he saw her interacting with other guys in the past, it wasn't as strong as it was now. Hey, don't release your pressure here. Little Spirit saw the wind around Mo Sha and cried out. Mo Sha ignored him and merely looked at Sima Yuyue who was outside. He was very, very angry. Okay. Sima Yuyue felt the change in the Spirit Pagoda and was a little confused. She said to Luo Ziyuan, I still have something to do, so I'll go back first. You're not going to stay and watch the competition? Luo Ziyuan saw that she was going back and was very surprised. The billboard competition was a competition that all students didn't want to miss, but she didn't want to watch it. I want to watch it too, but I really do have something urgent to deal with. Goodbye. Sima Yuyue waved at him and quickly left. On the way back, she felt that the Spirit Pagoda was in a mess and asked Little Spirit, what happened? The Great Devil is having a fit. Little Spirit said, luckily we didn't disturb those who are in closed-door cultivation, or else his identity would be exposed. Sima Yuyue thought about the elders of the Egret clan and the Four-Winged Rocks, as well as her grandfather and Aunt Lan who were in closed-door cultivation. This commotion might really disturb them. What provoked this guy to be so careless? She said reproachfully, wait for me to go in and deal with him. Mo Sha didn't have much of a reaction to her words. She wanted to deal with him, but he wanted to deal with her too. How could she be so close to another man? Sima Yuyue returned to the parting garden and entered the Spirit Pagoda. After making sure that no one else was disturbed, she asked with a heavy face, don't you know that they don't know about your existence? You actually dared to make such a big commotion. What if someone found out? If they know, then they know. Mo Sha said disapprovingly. What is your identity? How can you let so many people know? Sima Yuyue said. Anyway, they won't go out, so they won't spread the news. But your existence will affect their hearts. You can't let them cultivate properly. Haven't you given them enough stimulation? Mo Sha said, the stimulation you gave them is enough for them to cultivate a strong heart. Even if you don't mind them knowing your identity, why did you make such a mess here? Sima Yuyue glared at him. She actually dared to ask him this. Who asked you to not come back to continue researching the antidote after the competition ended? More than half of the competition has already passed, and you haven't made any progress. What if you delay my matters? Mo Sha said, But not only did you not come back, you even chatted with another man in full swing outside. I'm angry, so you naturally have to bear my anger. What do you mean by chatting with another man in full swing? We only had a few exchanges about today's competition. How is it in full swing? No, that's not your main point. M.O. Shah, you're jealous, aren't you? Chapter 869. To be jealous, why would Ben Wang do such a senseless thing? Ben Wang is just angry. M.O. Shah glanced at her, resolutely refusing to admit that he was jealous. Jealousy? How could such an emotion appear in him? He was just angry. He was angry that she didn't take his matters to heart. Yes, that was it. Sima Yoyue's anger dissipated when she saw that he nodded emphatically. Your Highness Demon King, I know that you're not jealous. You're just angry. You're using your anger as an excuse to hide your jealousy. She said to him with a smile. Nonsense. How am I spouting nonsense? Sima Yuyue said, every time you talk about me, you're just trying to cover it up. Nonsense. M.O. Shah turned his face to the side. If you're jealous, so be it. What's there to be embarrassed about? Sima Yuyue reached out to poke his soul, although she could only pass through it. I'm so smart, cute, beautiful, and wise. It's normal for you to like me. Who would like you? Your strength is so low. Although your looks are passable, your personality is not good at all. Compared to other women, you lack charm and seduction. M.O. Shah looked at her hand poking his heart. He felt strange, as if she had really grabbed his heart. Sima Yuyue was unhappy and continued to poke and poke. In that case, you had a lot of women in the past. Some were elegant, some were cold, some were charming, and some were cute. Do you change 2 women every day 365 days in a year? You're the Demon King, so you naturally have a lot of women around you. What am I? How can I make you jealous when you've seen all the beauties in the world? As expected, I was thinking too much. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that this was the case. She suddenly felt a little disappointed and laughed self-mockingly towards the end. M.O. Shah saw that she was smiling just a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye, she looked disappointed and hurt. He didn't understand why. He couldn't figure out the reason, but he didn't want to see her like this. When he saw her like this, he felt empty inside. The more anxious he was, the more he didn't know what to do. When he saw her retract her hand, he subconsciously tensed his body and grabbed her hand. His other hand circled around her neck, stopping her from backing away. Then, he kissed her fiercely. Oh! Sima Yuyue widened her eyes. Another kiss. M.O. Shah didn't know how to kiss her, he just instinctively bit her soft lips. The sweet sensation between their lips made him feel as if his heart was about to melt. But Sima Yuyue doesn't feel well. Her lips hurt. Was this guy born in the year of the dog? His lips were probably bitten by him. She wanted to push him away, but M.O. Shah thought that she wasn't willing. Instead, he used more strength to control her, and his mouth became even more overbearing. The more one tried to push him away, the tighter the other tried to control himself. The more one tried to control the other, the more the other tried to push him away. The two of them continued to compete with each other, forgetting that they were kissing. This was the first time M.O. Shah's body had solidified, and it was also the first time Sima Yuyue felt his embrace. Unfortunately, she was not in the mood to feel the warmth of his embrace, or the strength of his body. All her attention was focused on resisting. The amount of strength needed to solidify one's body was huge. M.O. Shah only solidified for a few minutes before he couldn't take it anymore, and turned back into a spirit. The strength that was added to his body suddenly disappeared, and Sima Yuyue almost fell to the ground because she used too much strength. Luckily, she reacted quickly, and took a few steps back, dispelling the strength. Are you born in the year of the dog? She stood firm and shouted at him. She touched her lips, and sure enough, they were bleeding. M.O. Shah saw that her lips were red and swollen from his bite, and the dissatisfaction in his heart disappeared. His lips curled into a charming smile. Still smiling? Sima Yue glared at him, and continued to shout, "What are you doing now? Why did you bite me for no reason?" "Kiss." Mo Sha corrected her words. F***ck your grandfather's kiss, whose kiss is like this? A kiss is gentle and lingering. You bit the wrong one, why am I telling you this? Who let you touch me, you big stallion? Sima Yue angrily scolded. After following Sima Yue for so many years, he naturally knew what she meant by big stallion. He frowned, and said seriously, "I'm not a big stallion." "Humph, who would believe you?" Sima Yue didn't believe him. She took out the ointment and a small mirror, and applied the ointment in front of the mirror. Another forced kiss, another forced kiss. How many forced kisses had it been? She held the jade bottle in her hand, and told herself not to be angry. But when she saw her red and swollen lips in the mirror, the jade bottle broke. She threw away the broken pieces in her hand, and took out another bottle of ointment, planning to apply the ointment. In the past, when she was forced to kiss, it was just 4 lips touching, and it wasn't like this. At that time, she thought, wasn't it just a forced kiss? She would just treat it as being bitten by a dog. Only now did she know that a forced kiss could really be bitten by a dog. Thinking of this, the jade bottle broke again before she applied the ointment. She threw away the broken pieces, and got another bottle. Mo Sha floated over, and took the jade pendant from her hand. He hooked the ointment, and ignoring her murderous eyes, he gently applied the ointment for her. "I've never been with a woman." He finished applying the ointment, and caressed her soft lips, saying, "I've never been with a woman, and I've never touched a woman, much less kissed a woman. You're the first." "Humph." Sima Yue slapped his hand away, and ignored him. She already knew this. With his clumsy kissing skills, if a kiss could turn into a dog bite, it would be strange if he had ever been with a woman. But what she was angry about now wasn't whether he had ever been with a woman, but that this guy actually forced another kiss on her. She hated being forced to kiss. Through the contract, Mo Sha felt the anger in her heart, and the reason why she was angry. He put the jade bottle in her hand, saying, "If you're angry about this, I can let you force a kiss back, I don't mind." "Force a kiss back, don't mind? Screw your second uncle, who wants to force a kiss on you. You don't mind, but I do." She growled, and slapped him, but it only brushed past his head. "I'll give you a chance to force a kiss on me. If you want to force a kiss back, this chance is valid for life." Mo Sha said very seriously. Sima Yue wanted to slap him again, but seeing his serious expression, she stopped. He was serious, he was serious, he was serious. He could actually say such perverted words in such a serious manner. She really lost to this guy. She wanted to give him 2 punches, but he was in a spirit state, so she couldn't hit him. But if she didn't beat him up, the anger in her heart wouldn't go away. She endured, and couldn't help but endure again. Finally, she suppressed all her anger, and went to the pill refining room. Out of sight, out of mind. Isn't it just a forced kiss? Just you wait. Chapter 870. Sima Yue was messing around in the alchemy room while Mo Sha was in a good mood outside. Although he had used up a lot of energy just now, he hadn't felt that kind of real touch for a long time. Especially the feeling of hugging her, it was too nostalgic. Alas, the time was too short. Before he could enjoy it, his body couldn't take it anymore. But, is this really not how a kiss should be? He didn't understand. It was all his fault for being inexperienced. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so angry. He couldn't help but have this thought. However, if he was really experienced, Yue would be even angrier. Little Spirit waited for this storm to pass before appearing in front of Mo Sha. Ling Long was with him. Little Spirit didn't say anything and just silently cleaned up the messy space. After cleaning up, he glanced at Mo Sha and left with Ling Long. Alas, in front of him, Yu's combat strength is really too weak. If they really got together in the future, Yu would definitely be bullied. Yu is so pitiful. Exquisite said. Humph, who knows who will bully who in the future? Little Spirit was still holding on to his fantasy. Yes. Yu was still very powerful. We have to believe in him. Although I feel that the possibility is very small, there is always a chance. Exquisite nodded. If Sima Yue, who was in the alchemy room, heard their conversation, she would probably crush the experimental bottle in her hand. Were they trying to boost her morale or diminish her prestige? In the fourth round, the top 150 would advance to the top 75. In the fifth round, out of 75 people, one person would advance to the next round. The remaining 74 people would advance to the next round. Yue wasn't lucky enough to advance to the next round, but she still made it to the top 20. At this point, she was the only one left among the freshmen. Sima Yulin and the others had been eliminated from the 150 to 75. They would not be able to participate in the later rounds of the competition, but they would participate in the later rounds of the ranking competition to determine their final ranking. In the previous round, 19 people had advanced to the next round. With one more person, they had to draw lots again. This time, Yue was lucky. She drew the lot to advance to the top 10. A freshman had advanced to the top 10. The entire academy was in an uproar. They all knew that she was very powerful, but they didn't think that she could reach this step. Tisk, what's there to be surprised about? Although she didn't use all of her spiritual power, I heard that she is a primary divine emperor. How many of you can reach the level of primary divine emperor? If you do, you can also enter the top 20. Junior divine emperor? That's right. That's why he's a real force. I wonder which force he's from. He's actually so powerful. To have such strength at such a young age. Not only that, she's also a body refiner. Body refinement path? Didn't you notice that in the first few rounds of the competition, she defeated her opponents with her physical strength? I think so. Then she's too awesome. Since he's so powerful, I'm afraid that only the top few can contend with him, right? That's not necessarily true. I also heard that she has many contracted beasts. Each of them is very powerful. Yes, I heard about it too. He has a golden-winged great pang and is now the king of the rocks. In that case, doesn't that mean he can command all the birds? That's right. Heavens, who else in this continent can be his opponent? She's already very powerful, and now she has such a strong external force. This Sima Yue is simply a god. Sigh, I used to think that I was already very powerful to be able to enter the heavenly sect. Now that I'm compared to her, I realize that I'm just trash. That's right. That's too much of a blow. She's so powerful, and she's also an alchemist. How are we supposed to live? It's a good thing that there aren't many perverts like her. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to live. Speaking of which, the people in her team are all perverts. Bei Gong Tang, Ouyang Fei, and that Sima Yulin are all very powerful. Freshmen can enter the top 10, and can even enter the top 100. Sima You's brothers are the same as well. Their cultivation is obviously the same as the average student, but their battle prowess is much stronger. Even the worst of them can be ranked in the top 200. When did the freshmen become so powerful? I heard that even Crazy He and Tang Yen have joined that team. That team has the least number of people, but it's the most popular. Yeah, most people can't even join them. I saw that she didn't give it her all when she competed with the others. I think that when the final competition comes, we'll definitely be able to feast our eyes. We'll be able to see it tomorrow. At this time, Sima Yue was sitting behind these people, listening to their discussions. As the competition neared the end, she could no longer continue studying in the Spirit Pagoda. She had to understand the situation in the final competition. She had to see her opponents. Today's competition was to advance from 19 to 10. When she drew lots in the morning, she happened to get an empty lot. She directly advanced to the top 10, and competed with the remaining 9. Out of the 9 pairs of competitors, 5 had already gone up. This He Feng is really a battle maniac. His battle prowess is really not bad, she said to Bei Gong Tang beside her. These years, whenever he sees someone stronger, he'll run over to challenge them. He's been beaten up many times. His battle prowess is probably because he was beaten up, Bei Gong Tang said with a smile. It's a good thing that he's in the sect. If he was outside, he would have lost his life long ago if he went around looking for people to fight. Wei Ziqi sighed. Tang Yan also heard that he's strong. His opponent is Lai Xiaotian, who used to be ranked 15th. This battle won't be too difficult for him, Sima Yulin said. In today's competition, most of the competitors were ranked in the top 20 of the billboard. Every single one of them had extraordinary battle prowess. One battle could last for 3 to 4 hours. All kinds of spirit beasts, pills, and treasures were taken out. The treatment of the top 10 and the top 20 was as different as heaven and earth. These people's battle prowess is extraordinary. If you go up against them, you'll have to put in more effort. I don't think you can do it like before, Wei Ziqi said. I was lucky before. I didn't meet any strong opponents, Sima Yuyue said, but later on, it won't depend on luck anymore. The experts on the billboard are all strong people. She didn't watch the billboard's competition properly before. Every time, she would leave after the competition. And her opponents were all very weak. She didn't meet anyone who was really strong. But because of this, she didn't think that the sect students were all weak. The experts were all left for the back. Didn't that Hua Piao Miao always look down on us? If you meet her, you have to beat her up, Fatty Chu said. Cat pounce. Chapter 871. 7 was unhappy, very unhappy. She clearly didn't participate in the previous competitions. How could those old fellows let her participate in the current competition? She said that she didn't think of it at that time, but now she couldn't back out even if she wanted to. She had to participate in the competition. She's angry, very angry, and the consequences are very serious. She still didn't know who her opponent was, but no matter who it was, they were destined to become her punching bag. She would beat the other party up until they cried for their parents and felt extremely comfortable. Why was Yu able to watch from above while he was waiting to go on stage? It's not fair. Look at little 7, her face is puffed up like a bun. Fatty Chu pointed at her and said with a smile. Fatty Chu, little 7 has a belly full of fire. If you provoke her now, be careful that she will beat you up until you can't get out of bed for 3 days. Sima Yulu was beside Fatty Chu, seeing little 7's expression, he gloated. Little 7 felt their gazes and looked over. Seeing Fatty Chu smiling, she glared at him fiercely. Fatty Chu originally didn't take his words to heart, but little 7's gaze made him shrink his neck involuntarily. That look says, if you mess with me, I'll punch you. He completely believed that if little 7 wanted to beat him up, being bedridden for 3 days would be a light punishment. Sima Yuyue and the rest couldn't help but laugh when they saw Fatty Chu's expression. As long as he met little 7, Fatty Chu would be terrified. However, little 7 is indeed very angry. I wonder who would be so unlucky to become her opponent, Sima Yuyue said with a smile. No matter who it is, I'm afraid that this outcome won't be easy, Sima Yuran said, unless the opponent concedes the moment they go up and doesn't give her a chance to act. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't even have the chance to speak later. Finally, it was little 7's turn. She flew onto the stage, crossed her arms, and glared at her opponent. That oppressive aura made the referee feel pressured. He coughed lightly and said, "This round, little 7 is up. I admit defeat." The other party didn't wait for the referee to finish speaking and admitted defeat first. "What did you say?" Little 7 was furious. "We haven't even started yet." How can he just admit defeat like this? The referee looked at that person and asked, "Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm sure," he said. "I admit defeat." It wasn't like he didn't know Little Seven. Who could compare to Little Seven's combat power? Moreover, she had evolved. He was even less of a match for her. Looking at the unrestrained hostility emanating from her body, it was obvious that she was very angry and wanted to find someone to vent her anger on. If he didn't admit defeat now, he wouldn't be able to do so when the fight really started. "Don't admit defeat," Little Seven shouted. "If you admit defeat, do you believe that I won't beat you up?" In the end, he looked at Xiao-Qi and said to the referee, "I admit defeat. Hurry up and announce the verdict." When the referee saw this, he didn't try to persuade Xiao-Qi any further. With Xiao-Qi's current state, it was no wonder that the other party wanted to admit defeat. Third arena, Little Seven wins. Hearing the referee's announcement, that person hurriedly jumped down and no longer looked at Little Seven. Too scary," he said, patting his chest repeatedly. "Humph," Little Seven didn't beat him up. She angrily stomped her feet and went down unwillingly. Gotcha. A crisp cracking sound clearly entered everyone's ears. They looked towards the arena and saw that the intact stone of the arena, with Little Seven as the center, had cracked in all directions. The arena was broken. But no one dared to say anything to Little Seven. They could only watch as she went down the arena. Cracked, cracked. Fatty Chu looked at the third arena and said in disbelief. He had previously set his goal to destroy the arena, but Little Seven just stomped her feet and it was done. This was too much of a blow to him. Mao Sen Quan and Fan Lei on the VIP stand were heartbroken. That was a 9-star dark stone that only existed in the 9-star dark sea. There were only a few pieces in total. Now, she had actually smashed it with one stomp. This little brat, why is her temper so big? Mao Sen Quan's heart was bleeding. And this was on the arena. According to her temper, this stomp would have been on us. Will this method work? Mao Sen Quan said uncertainly. We can't lose the wife and lose the soldiers. Whether it works or not, it's already like this. We can only see the results later. Fan Lei sighed. Sigh, I hope it doesn't go to waste. On the other side, Little Seven returned to the VIP stand and sat down beside Sima Yuyue with a long face. Sima Yuyue looked at her ugly little face and laughed. She used one hand to pinch her nose. All right, don't be angry. Look, you've destroyed the arena. You should calm down now. Only she had the guts to pinch Little Seven's nose at this time. Humph, let me destroy all 5 arenas. Then I won't be angry. Little Seven said angrily. You destroyed one. Director Mao and the rest are all heartbroken. Look at their faces, don't they look heartbroken? Sima Yuyue said. Little Seven followed his gaze and looked over. Sure enough, she saw Mao Sen Quan's distressed expression. Seeing his eyebrows trembling, she laughed out loud. Pfft, I just want him to feel heartbroken. Let's see if he dares to treat me like this next time. Little Seven said this, but she wasn't so angry anymore. With this lesson, he won't dare to do it again. Sima Yuyue said. So don't be angry anymore. Yu is the best. Everyone wants to hide far away from me. Only you stay with me. Bei Gong Tang and the rest couldn't help but twitch their mouths. You have such a strong aura, of course we have to hide far away. Not everyone is like Yuyue and has a special place in your heart. Yuyue is trying to persuade her, but we are just adding fuel to the fire. He might even get himself into trouble and get beaten up by you. Others might not dare to say this, but if it was Fatty Chu, he would definitely be beaten up. Therefore, persuading people is not something that anyone can do. Alright, let's continue watching the competition. Sima Yuyue said as she patted her hand. The arena in the middle was destroyed. The school didn't plan to change it for the time being, so they left it in the middle. Wang Ximiao, Peng Jianan and Hua Piao Miao finished their matches first. The three of them were in the top 10. After that, Tang Yen and Mo Bin were in the top 10. Including Little 7 and Sima Yuyue, there were 7 people in the top 10. In the afternoon, He Feng successfully defeated his opponent and entered the top 10. Following that, the other 2 were chosen. The top 10 on the billboard were decided. The school announced the end of today's competition. The contestants were allowed to rest for a day to adjust their condition. The day after tomorrow, the top 5 would compete. Chapter 872. All the contestants rested for a day. The contestants were still fine and rested on their own. However, the other students were already in an uproar. The whole school was filled with people talking about the competition. As for the familiar faces from the previous batches, everyone wasn't too surprised. What they talked about the most was Sima Yuyue, the monster among the freshmen. The first place would definitely be Little 7. There was no doubt about it and there was no debate about it. As for the second place, everyone started to debate. Some said it would be Wang Si Miao, some said it would be Hua Piao Miao. Some said that Wang Si Miao was the second place last time, so it would definitely be him this time. Some said that Hua Piao Miao only lost to Wang Si Miao by 1.5 moves in the previous competition. She had been working hard these few years and had improved a lot. She would definitely win against Wang Si Miao and become the second place. Others said that the second place would be Peng Jianan or Mo Bin. Because they performed well in the previous rounds and didn't lose to Wang Si Miao and Hua Piao Miao, the second place could also be theirs. 10 years wasn't a long time, but it wasn't short either. To the young people who were at the peak of their career, they could have improved a lot in these 10 years, or they could have stayed the same. So it was hard to say who would be the second place. Among the many voices, there was a small voice that had a different opinion. I think that the second place will be Sima Yuyue. Someone said. As for this opinion, some people supported it, while others laughed. How could a freshman get to the second place? It was her luck to be able to enter the top 10. At the same time, somewhere in the mountains behind the school, Peng Jianan turned left and right and came to a mountain. He looked behind him and after confirming that there was no one, he entered the cave at the foot of the mountain. This cave was very deep. The surrounding walls had traces of new carvings. It was obvious that it was dug out not long ago. After he entered the cave, he took a few turns and entered the innermost stone room. In the stone room, an old man was meditating. When he heard that he had come, he opened his eyes and asked, "Why are you here?" Peng Jianan bowed to the old man and said, "I've already investigated what happened last time." At that time, Sima Yuyue and Little 7 gave Wang Si Miao that poison. At that time, the person who overheard our conversation was their member, Fatty Chu. I think that he was the one who told Sima Yuyue the news. That was why Sima Yuyue gave him the poison and hindered our previous operation. Sima Yuyue, where did this person come from? He actually managed to create a poison that can kill a monarch-level expert. The old man asked. Peng Jianan told the old man everything he had found out about Sima Yuyue and the others, allowing the old man to decide what to do next. That person was able to get so close to us last time. This means that he knows how to restrain his aura. The old man said, "He's called Fatty Chu, right? This person ruined our plans. Let's find a chance to get rid of him." "Yes, Elder Peng. His friends must know as well. Let's deal with them together," Elder Peng said. "What about Little 7? I really didn't expect that after searching for so many years in the inner courtyard, the Eye of the Earth had actually transformed into a human form." Elder Peng said, "No wonder we couldn't find her even after searching for so long. This is indeed surprising." Peng Jianan said, "At first, I didn't link Little 7 to the Eye of the Earth. However, I realized yesterday that Little 7's strength is too strong. It's not something an ordinary transformed beast can possess. Therefore, she is most likely the Eye of the Earth. Since we've already confirmed it, we should act quickly." Elder Peng said, there are many experts in the academy. If I didn't have the help of a treasure, I wouldn't have been able to hide here for so long. I feel that recently, there have been divine senses scanning the back of the mountain. Therefore, I think the academy has already sensed something. Then we should act quickly. Peng Jianan said, if we're late, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape. It's not likely that we can hide from the academy and kidnap the Eye of the Earth. Let's discuss a comprehensive plan and execute it immediately. Elder Peng said. Should we ask for outside help? Peng Jianan asked. Not at the moment. Elder Peng said, the people in the academy have been watching closely. I don't dare to do anything. I'm afraid that once we contact the outside world, we will be discovered by those old fellows. How about this, you think of a way to bring the Eye of the Earth to the back of the mountain. As long as those old fellows don't come, we still have time to escape after capturing her. If it's within the academy, I'm afraid those old fellows will come even earlier. There's a space barrier in the academy. We can't tear through space. As long as we leave this area, we can leave successfully. Alright, I'll definitely think of a way to bring little Seven to the back of the mountain. Peng Jianan said, however, Elder Peng, that Wang Si Miao, the reason you gave that person last time, did he believe you? He did. Then continue to let them do it. Elder Peng said, it's best if they succeed. If they don't succeed, as long as we get the Eye of the Earth, everything else is trivial. I understand. Peng Jianan said, however, Elder Peng, we can find them to kill Wang Si Miao. However, if we want to kill Sima Yuyue and the others, I'm afraid it won't be easy to find them. After all, it won't be easy to find an excuse. Elder Peng thought for a while and said, the situation now is different. We have to prioritize getting the Eye of the Earth. We can't let other things affect this. Let's put aside the matter of those people for now. We'll talk about it again when we get out. Yes. Alright, you can go back first. If you don't get in touch with me, don't come here again unless the plan is carried out. Don't expose my location. Elder Peng said. Yes. Peng Jianan left the cave and looked around. After confirming that there was no one around, he left the back of the mountain and rushed towards the academy. What he didn't know was that on the big tree outside the cave, there were 2 scarlet bees hiding in the dense leaves. One of the scarlet bees followed him out of the back of the mountain. The other stayed on the tree and continued to watch the cave. Parting garden. Sima Yuyue, Little Seven and Wang Si Miao sat in the pavilion in the courtyard. How is it, did you hear any news? Little Seven asked. Sima Yuyue shook her head and said, there's a very strong person on the other side. The scarlet bees didn't dare to get close. They could only hear some things faintly. What did you hear faintly? They mentioned you and Senior. Sima Yuyue said, I don't know what it is exactly. I didn't think that there would be such an expert hidden in the academy. I wonder if the academy knows about this. Wang Si Miao said with a solemn face. No matter if they know or not, we have to remind Instructor Mao and the others. Sima Yuyue said, these people are hiding in the academy. They must have some secret that they can't let others know. To us, this is a huge hidden danger. She looked at Little Seven. The other party must be coming for Little Seven. She had to tell the academy. If Little Seven got into trouble, it would be too late for regrets. Chapter 873. Sima Yuyue went to look for Mao Sanquan. She wanted to remind him, but his reaction made her suspicious. Mao Sanquan said, don't let Little Seven go out alone recently. That means he knows someone is hiding in the academy. But before he could ask the question in his heart, he waved his hand and said, go back and prepare for tomorrow's match. I have high hopes for you. Remember, don't let Little Seven go to the back mountain alone. I got it. Sima Yuyue nodded and left. How was it? Little Seven was waiting for her downstairs. Seeing her come out, she jumped over and asked. She didn't go in with him because she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to control herself and would want to beat him up. I think the academy already knew about it, but they didn't do anything about it. Maybe he's waiting for something. Sima Yuyue said, Instructor Mao told you not to go to the back of the mountain alone. It's best if you don't walk around the school alone. As expected, they came for little 7. Wang Ximiao said. You know that too. Sima Yuyue looked at him warily. Don't worry. Wang Ximiao said, I don't have any other thoughts. I don't have any other thoughts. Sima Yuyue stared at him. If he dared to have any thoughts about little 7, she would have to think carefully about what to do. Yes. Wang Ximiao looked at her calmly. I know that little 7 is the eye of the earth. However, I didn't plan to tell anyone about this, nor did I plan to kidnap little 7. Besides, I don't have the ability to do so. How did you know? Little 7's strength is beyond human ability. You are already abnormal. Little 7's fighting strength was so strong when she was young. At that time, I was already suspicious. Wang Ximiao said, at that time, I thought that little 7 was some kind of transformed beast. But after I asked my teacher, he said that there were no transformed beast in the academy. At that time, I suspected that little 7 was the eye of the earth. Sima Yuyue looked at him, trying to determine if he was telling the truth. After that, I came into contact with little 7 a few more times, but I didn't confirm my thoughts. Later, after seeing her evolve, I was able to confirm little 7's identity. Wang Ximiao said, however, I didn't spread the news about him. So, if you can think of it, so can Peng Jinan. Or rather, all of you can think of it, Sima Yuyue said. Not necessarily. Wang Ximiao said, Peng Jianan came for little 7, and because I've interacted with little 7 a few times, we connected her to the eye of the earth. If other people don't pay attention to it, they might not notice it. He won't harm me. Little 7 said. Sima Yuyue saw that she trusted Wang Ximiao so much. She thought of the time when she asked her to give him the antidote. This meant that little 7 trusted him. Since little 7 didn't say anything, she naturally couldn't do anything. It was just that she kept an eye on him in her heart. Her expression changed as she made a new discovery. What is it, Yuyu? Little 7 asked. Sima Yuyue glanced at Wang Ximiao and said, the Scarlet Bees sent back news that Peng Jianan and the Cloaked Man met. Where are they? Wang Ximiao asked. The back of the mountain. When Sima Yuyue arrived at the back of the mountain, she saw the continuous mountain range and couldn't help but sigh. The back of the mountain was really a good place to hide evil. Those people who were planning to do bad things all hid here, and no one would notice them. She brought little 7 and Wang Ximiao to a mountain and stopped, saying, the other party is not weak, can you restrain your aura? Wang Ximiao nodded his head and activated a cultivation technique. His originally faint aura immediately retracted completely. If they weren't standing in front of him, they wouldn't have noticed him. What a high-level technique to hide one's aura, it was even better than her own. If she could get her hands on it and let her people learn it, then their battle abilities would increase by a lot. She just didn't know if this guy was willing to exchange it. Wang Ximiao saw Sima Yuyue staring at him, and a bad feeling arose in his heart. He was like a mouse being stared at by a cat. What's wrong? Nothing. Sima Yuyue smiled and said, since you've already retracted your aura, then let's go over. The three of them quietly approached and found a place to hide, listening to Peng Jianan and the Cloaked Man's conversation. Did you remember everything I just told you? Peng Jianan said. I've already remembered all the people you mentioned, but the price. The black cloaked man's voice was hoarse. It was unknown if it was originally like this, or if it could be faked. One person, 100,000 middle-grade crystals. Peng Jianan said, this price is already very good. 100,000 middle-grade crystals, it's not bad. The black-cloaked man said, according to the old rules, pay half the deposit, and the rest will be paid when you see the head. Pang Jianan took out a crystal card and threw it to him, saying, I hope the sooner the better. Even if it's fast, it won't be that fast. We won't make a move in the academy. Once they leave, we'll naturally arrange it for you. The black-cloaked man said. All right, I understand. Pang Jianan said, you can go back. But the black-cloaked man didn't move at all. What's wrong? Pang Jianan said unhappily. Last time, you actually hid Wang Ximiao's identity. The black-cloaked man said, you used the excuse of a love rival to have us kill him, but the news we received recently is not like this. What news? Wang Ximiao is a member of the Wang clan. Just like your Pang clan, it's a big power. You didn't want to reveal the relationship between the two clans. But you used us, and didn't tell us the truth, causing us to lose so much last time. Don't you think that you should give us some compensation? The black-cloaked man said. Wang Ximiao's matter has nothing to do with his identity, it's because Sima Yuyue gave him poison when he left the Karma Desert. Your people were poisoned by her poison, and that's why they were killed by Wang Ximiao. So, if you want to blame someone, you can only blame her. Pang Jianan shrugged, and said unconcernedly. Sima Yuyue. So, I asked you to kill him, not only because of me, but because he knew about our matter. You killed him to keep it a secret for yourself. Pang Jianan said, if you don't leave, I'll leave. If someone sees us again, things will be troublesome. After he finished speaking, he turned and flew away, leaving the black-cloaked man alone. This is an assassin organization hidden in the academy. Sima Yuyue looked at Wang Ximiao in astonishment. Wang Ximiao shook his head, I don't know. This is the first time I've heard of such a thing. That person is leaving, what should we do? Little Seven pulled Sima Yuyue's sleeve and said. What else can we do, let's capture him first. Sima Yuyue finished speaking, and went out from her hiding place. Chapter 874. Pang Jinan was nowhere to be seen. The man in the black cloak thought about Sima Yuyue's situation and felt that this person would be difficult to deal with. To be able to refine such a poison, this was not something an ordinary person could do. Who is it? He sensed someone's aura, and when he turned around, he saw 3 figures flying out from the boulder behind him. He knew Wang Ximiao, but he didn't know who the other 2 were even though they were so close to him. The 3 of them were very fast. In the blink of an eye, they were beside him and surrounded him in a triangle. Wang Ximiao. That person looked at Wang Ximiao. He didn't expect that he would be discovered. Who are you? Wang Ximiao looked at him. The cloak completely covered him, making it impossible to recognize him. You don't have the right to know who I am, the black-cloaked man said. I didn't expect that those people didn't kill you, but you actually appeared in front of me. So it really was you who sent people to kill me. Wang Ximiao said, but your people didn't manage to kill me. Instead, they were all sent to hell by me. It's a pity that I wasn't able to find out your identities from them. How could you possibly find out the identities of my people? The man asked. Since they've killed you, I'll do it myself. Didn't they say they were going to kill you? Little Seven clenched her fists and looked at the cloaked man with killing intent. Killing Wang Ximiao is one thing, but you actually want to kill Yu. See if I don't beat you to death today. Wang Ximiao was speechless. What did he mean by killing him? Killing Yuyue was out of the question. You're Sima Yuyue. The black-cloaked man recognized Yuyue immediately. You knew that he was looking for me here, so you followed him. I have to say, you guys are really bold. Your little grandaunt's guts aren't small. Otherwise, she wouldn't have jumped out to catch you. You should obediently kneel in front of her. Who knows, we might even give you a quick death. Little Seven raised her chin and said. Sima Yuyue was speechless. When did this guy learn to speak like that? Ha ha ha. The hooded man's hoarse laughter made people feel very uncomfortable, as if a saw was cutting through their hearts. Although I rarely take action personally, since you two have encountered each other, I will first complete the previous mission and kill you, Wang Ximiao. Then, I will deal with the two of you. Then let's see if you have the ability. Little Seven rolled up her sleeves and raised her fist to attack. Sima Yuyue pulled Wang Ximiao back to avoid being injured by the shockwaves. Little Seven's combat power was extraordinary. Lei Tian, who was a high-level monarch rank, was killed by her with a single punch. However, she didn't expect this black cloak to be able to fight with her for so long. This person is so strong, no wonder he dares to walk around the school. Sima Yuyue said. For example, the person Pang Jinan contacted didn't dare to walk around casually. He could only hide in the back of the mountain and not come out. Perhaps, he dares to walk around the academy because he's familiar with the academy and isn't afraid of being exposed. Wang Ximiao said. Do you think he's a teacher at the academy? Sima Yuyue asked. I guessed. Why would a teacher at the academy do such a thing to assassinate a student? This is too unbelievable. Sima Yuyue said, if it's true, why would there be so many outsiders in the academy? The academy isn't that weak, right? Low, weak chicken. Sima Yuyue changed the word. Weak chicken, what do you mean? It means that the academy is weak and weak. That's why so many outsiders are allowed to enter the academy. Sima Yuyue said. No, the academy wouldn't be that weak. Wang Ximiao used what he had learned. Although I haven't seen the academy's strength, I've heard that the academy has a strong defense and strong combat power. Not just anyone can enter. What about that person from the Pang clan? He's an accident. Mao Senquan's voice rang out beside them, giving them a fright. Instructor Mao, why are you here? Sima Yuyue asked. You guys made such a big commotion, how could we not come? Mao Senquan said. This guy appears and disappears like a ghost, how did you guys find him? We followed Pang Jianan, he contacted this person and we just happened to meet him. Wang Ximiao said. Instructor Mao, you know him? Sima Yuyue asked. I know. Not only him, there's also the one you mentioned before. There are many other people hidden in the academy. Mao Senquan said. Since the academy knows, why didn't they take action? She didn't understand. Haven't they already taken action? Mao Senquan said, only by stirring the pot will those hidden at the bottom of the pot surface. Little Seven, don't tell me you guys let Little Seven participate in the competition to let those people reveal themselves? She thought of Little Seven and looked at him strangely. Hee, you can say that. Mao Senquan said. Little Seven heard his words from the side and was so angry that she almost jumped. Old Mao, you're still watching the show? She roared. Who's watching the show? I came specially for this. Mao Senquan said. Then why aren't you taking this guy down? I believe you can do it. Mao Senquan looked at her and smiled, if you really can't do it, I'll take your place. The black-cloaked man panicked when he saw Mao Senquan appear. How did he get here so quickly? He was already here, where were the other experts of the academy? No, he had to hurry up and get out. Little Seven sensed his intentions and grabbed his arm, saying, I haven't even seen your true face, why are you leaving already? If I let you leave, I don't think I'll be able to survive. That person was grabbed by her and his body instinctively resisted, but it was useless. His entire body was thrown towards Mao Senquan. How passionate. Mao Senquan took out a rope and threw it at him, tying him up. Peng, that rope seemed to be alive. After tying him up, he couldn't break free and fell to the ground like a dumpling. Come, let me see who it is that actually has the ability to hide in the academy and do these shady things, killing my students. Mao Senquan walked over and said. Sima Yuyue also followed, she was very curious about this person's identity. Mao Senquan came to his side, squatted down and lifted his cloak. It's you. Mao Senquan cried out in surprise. Sima Yuyue went over to take a look and was stunned. She pointed at him and said, "This isn't him." "No." Mao San-Quan knew who she was talking about and denied it. He then took out something and connected it to the others. Sima Yuyue looked at Mao San-Quan suspiciously. This old face was obviously that of the old man from the outer academy library. How could Mao San-Quan say that it wasn't him? Chapter 875. Although Sima Yuyue knew him, he didn't seem to remember her. The way he looked at her was strange. It was as if he had never seen him before. Something was wrong. Back then, he often went to borrow books and was already familiar with the old man in the library. How could he forget him so quickly? This was impossible for a spirit master. Unless he had amnesia and couldn't remember the past. But would spirit masters suffer from amnesia? It's not him. Little Seven knew what Sima Yuyue was thinking and said, "I've seen that old man before. He stays in the library in the outer courtyard all day long. Their auras are different. So they just look the same? That old man's twin brother?" Not long after, Fan Lei arrived. When he saw the people tied up on the ground, he was very surprised. He and Mao San-Quan went to the side and whispered something. Strange. Shouldn't Mao San-Quan and the others immediately deal with the people they caught with bad intentions in the academy? Why didn't the two of them care about the people on the ground, and instead went to the side to talk? From the looks of it, they knew this person. After a while, there was a slight fluctuation in the space. Sima Yuyue looked over and saw the space tunnel opening. An old man walked out from it. It was the old man in the outer yard library. Elderly, Mao San-Quan and Fan Lei both bowed to him. Their etiquette was that of a junior bowing to an elder. Old Master Li nodded at them. He ignored the person on the ground and looked at Sima Yuyue. Mao San-Quan and the others were the ones who bowed, so it was better for the three of them to obediently bow. Elderly, not bad. Old Master Li looked at Sima Yuyue. She had improved so quickly in such a short time. She was indeed a good seedling. "Thank you, Elderly, for taking care of me when I was in the outer courtyard," Sima Yuyue said. At that time, when she went to borrow books, he would say something to her from time to time and give her some pointers. Later, because she was busy and Shiman Feng's matter was solved, she rarely went to the library. He didn't expect to see him here today. "I can't say that I took care of you, but it wasn't bad to chat with you. It's a pity that you didn't visit me in the end." Elderly sighed. It wasn't easy to find a pleasing young man these days. "What have you been doing recently?" he asked. Sima Yuyue was about to answer, "Elderly, he." Fan Lei looked at the person on the ground and reminded him. What was wrong with old Master Li? Shouldn't he be dealing with this matter first? Why did it seem like he wanted to chat with Sima Yuyue? Elderly shifted his gaze to Fan Lei. Seeing that he was a little anxious, he said, "Forget it. I'll catch up with the little guy later. Let's deal with this first." After saying that, he walked to the other side. The people on the ground turned pale when they saw old Master Li. Their bodies trembled when they saw him walk in. "Li Jiu, don't come over," he shouted at Boss Li. Old man Li came to his side and looked at his trembling body. "Li Ying, you're still alive." Li Ying turned his head to the side and refused to answer him. "I always thought that you were dead. I didn't think that not only were you alive, you even established an assassin organization under the cover of the academy and persuaded the students of the academy to join. You wanted to find new blood here," Li Jiu continued. "How did you know?" "We're twins. I know what you're doing just by looking at you," Li Jiu said. "Xiao Mao and the rest are still young. It's not easy for them to deal with you, so they called me over. You should have known that someone would find out about you one day." Old Master Li's voice was very soft. He was not anxious, but his words were still a little sad. However, Yuyue and the rest could not help but want to laugh. Students had to respectfully call Mao San-Quan Director Mao. Fan Lei and the rest called him Old Mao. He was indeed quite old. But today, he was called Xiao Mao. Xiao Mao, thinking of this, they could not help but laugh. Mao Senquan glared at the three of them, and they immediately stopped laughing. You guys take him back first. You can deal with him however you want, Li Jiu said. We've already broken off our brotherhood. You don't have to care about me. Yes, Old Master Li, Mao Senquan replied. Old Master Li, aren't you coming with us? Fan Lei asked. Old Master Li looked at the mountains behind and said, there are still a few flies hiding here. I didn't want to care about them, but since we're out, I'll let you guys take a look. Otherwise, that old man will come back and say that I didn't take good care of you guys. The person that Old Master Li called old man was definitely not one of the principals of the academy. Old Master Li, you already knew? Sima Yuyue asked in surprise. I knew. Li Jiu said. They're just a few flies. They can't do anything, so I just left them be. Who knew that these guys would not do anything after so long? I don't know if they found out. They haven't found out everything yet. Originally, I planned to deal with them all at once, Mao Senquan said. It's been so many years. It seems like I should train you guys properly. You guys have been too lax these years. The academy has been ruined because of you guys, Li Jiu said. Don't think that I don't know anything just because I'm outside. Mao Senquan and Fan Lei lowered their heads when they heard his reproachful words. I'll talk to you guys later. Li Jiu did not want to embarrass them in front of the younger generation. Little Fan, bring Li Ying back and watch over him. Xiao Mao, come with me to kill the flies. You three can go back by yourselves. After he finished speaking, he and Mao Senquan went to the back of the mountain. Fan Lei picked up the person on the ground and left. Before he left, he reminded the three of them to go back quickly. The three of them agreed verbally, but when they left, they still didn't move from their original spot. This old Master Li is so domineering. Sima Yuyue exclaimed. I used to think that he was just a guard in the library. I didn't think that even Director Mao and the rest would be so respectful to him. Based on what he said, old Mao and the rest were trained by him. I wonder what his identity is. Little Seven said. I heard that the previous vice principal's surname was Li, Wang Ximiao said. Could it be him? Little Seven said in disbelief. Didn't they say that the previous batch of old men are all gone? There's always one or two. The person who met with Pang Jianan was caught. Sima Yuyue said. The Scarlet Bees sent news back? Yeah. It seems like old Master Li knows about these people. Little Seven said. Then he should know about Li Ying? I don't think so. Sima Yuyue said. Li Ying and old Master Li are twins. They should know him very well. It shouldn't be difficult for them to use their understanding of him to avoid him. That's true. Little Seven nodded. She smiled widely. Old Mao and the rest are in trouble. Old Master Li said that he wants to teach them a lesson. I think they'll have a hard time in the future. Ha ha ha, you're gloating. Sima Yuyue patted her head. She was looking forward to what would happen to Mao Senquan and the rest. Chapter 876. Pang Jinan didn't come to the finals the next day. The explanation given by the academy was that he went to the forbidden area yesterday and violated the academy's rules, so he was expelled from the academy. The person who was ranked third on the Wind Cloud leaderboard was kicked out just like that. Furthermore, it was during the Wind Cloud leaderboard competition. The students of the academy were in an uproar when they heard the news. That's no small thing. Those who had been to the forbidden area were afraid that the academy would drag them out and expel them. However, there were also people who doubted the academy's statement. After all, at this time, Pang Jinan should be preparing for the next day's competition. Why would she go to the forbidden area? It doesn't make sense. Therefore, there must be a reason why he didn't appear in the competition. However, if the academy didn't say anything, they wouldn't know either. Fortunately, although Pang Jianan was strong, he did not have any real followers. Those who followed him in the past all knew that he was actually a person who had his tail up to the sky. On the surface, he looked very friendly, but in reality, he looked down on people. Therefore, there was no one who truly had a good relationship with him or cared about him. Therefore, even if he backed out halfway, it was just like a stone thrown into the water, causing a few ripples. Because one person had withdrawn, the 9 people who had been eliminated earlier drew lots to replace him, making a total of 10 people. Now, come up and draw lots to decide your opponents. The teacher said to the 10 people. The person who just came up was very happy. He was a little disappointed when he was eliminated, but he didn't expect that he would have such an opportunity to rise. However, his happiness didn't last long before a basin of cold water was poured over him. His opponent is little 7 on the stage. 7 looked at him and said, "If you admit defeat, I won't beat you up." No. The other party also had a backbone. "Although you are very strong, I still want to compete with you." "All right." Little 7 said, "Seeing that you have such a backbone, I won't make things difficult for you. Can we begin?" She turned to look at the referee. The referee nodded. She quickly rushed over and sent her opponent flying with a punch. She landed in a perfect arc from the ring all the way to the ground. She had controlled her strength very well, and her opponent did not suffer any serious injuries after landing. Another one. When the crowd saw her like this, they didn't feel too excited anymore. Arena number 1, Little 7 wins. The judge announced. Little 7 waited for him to announce his decision before jumping off the stage and smiling at Sima Yuyue. "Yuyu, come down quickly." Because the one in the middle was destroyed by Little 7, only 4 of them could use it. Sima Yuyue was in the 5th group, so she could only wait. "I'll try my best," Sima Yuyue said as she went up the stage. He-Feng was very excited. After waiting for so long, he could finally fight with her. Although the chances of him winning were not high, at least he had fulfilled his wish. He went up the platform and summoned his contract beast. "We will only compete with ourselves, not our spirit beasts," Sima Yuyue said. If they were to compare their contracted beasts, there was no comparison at all. He-Feng thought about it and kept his contract beast. "Come." Both of them mobilized their spiritual power at the same time. Yuyu's strength as a beginner God Emperor was completely exposed. He really is an early-stage God Emperor. I always thought that it was just a rumor. I didn't expect it to be true. Even a new student is so much stronger than us. This is too much of a blow to us. Stop howling. Let's watch them fight. He-Feng was also a beginner God Emperor. His attribute was metal. Because of his rich battle experience, he was very familiar with spiritual techniques. Very quickly, hundreds of small swords appeared in front of him. Every single one of them looked extremely sharp. Sima Yuyue used fire attribute. Her fire attribute formed a flaming blade. One blade against hundreds of small swords. Can she handle it? In such a situation, she should have used Rain of Flames. She's so young and doesn't have much battle experience. If her large blade can block a portion of the small swords, she shouldn't be too heavily injured. Some people on the stage were anxious for her. Some were discussing. Go. He-Feng controlled his spiritual swords to attack. Sima Yuyue immediately waved her large blade to meet him. The originally clumsy large blade was actually wielded very well by her. It formed a blade shadow net in front of her and scattered all the spiritual swords. Everyone was stunned by her move. The swords scattered, but the blade did not. After scattering all the swords, she controlled the large blade in her hand and slashed towards He-Feng. When He-Feng saw the large blade coming towards him, a shield appeared in his left hand and blocked the large blade in front of him. In an instant, his spiritual energy transformed. This reaction, this speed, if not for his rich battle experience, he would not be able to do it. He blocked the large blade with his left hand. Occasionally, he would take out a long sword and inject spiritual energy into it. After slashing the large blade a few times, the large blade would scatter. Sima Yuyue did not expect to defeat He Feng with a spiritual technique. Seeing that the large blade was scattered, he took out his long sword. She quickly formed a fire dragon whip. Pa! The fire dragon whip flew past. He Feng waved his long sword and chopped off a portion of it. However, this was not a real whip. After a portion was chopped off, another portion grew out and quickly wrapped around his long sword. He pulled with all his strength, but his sword was still wrapped tightly around the whip. What strength! He muttered to himself. He gathered spiritual energy in his hands and attacked Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue quickly formed a fire shield that was as tall as a person and blocked his spiritual energy. At the same time, she moved her hand and the fire dragon whip let go of his long sword. She took the opportunity to whip him. After an hour, He Feng's spiritual energy was depleted. However, Sima Yuyue did not show any signs of fatigue. The dagger was placed on his neck and he had no choice but to admit defeat. To him, this battle was a satisfying one. However, he knew that Yu did not use much of her strength. If she wanted to, she could have finished him off in a shorter time. She only wanted to accompany him in this battle. I admit defeat. You are indeed powerful. This was the first time he admitted defeat willingly. In the past, no matter how badly he was beaten up, he would never admit defeat. All he wanted was to increase his strength before fighting again. Only this time, he admitted defeat. Sima Yuyue kept Ling Long and smiled, "You are not bad yourself." Seeing this, the referee announced, Arena 1, Sima Yuyue wins. The two of them walked down the arena together. Although He Feng lost, he was very excited. He was even happier than when he won the previous battles. After watching the battle between the two of them, the students in the stands looked at Sima Yuyue in a different light. Although she saw a lot of the battle between Lu Mingyuan and her in the academy, it did not last long. She chose to end the battle quickly. Although it was very exciting, it did not last long. Moreover, many people were in seclusion, so not many people knew about it. By the time they came out, it was already over. However, today was different. In front of almost all the students in the academy, she used her own strength to defeat He Feng, the battle maniac in everyone's eyes. She used her strength to tell everyone that she did not come this far because of luck, but because she deserved it. Chapter 877. Because of the small number of people, this round of the competition ended before noon. However, because everyone had to recover their spiritual energy, there was no competition today. Other than Sima Yuyue, there were no surprises in the list of people who advanced. There were Little Seven, Wang Si Miao, Hua Piao Miao, and Mo Bin. There was not much difference between the top 5 and last year. The only difference was that Sima Yuyue had replaced Pang Jinan's position. Because Little Seven was too heaven-defying, she directly advanced in this round. She didn't need to fight to be in the top 3. Actually, according to the Academy's intention, she should directly take first place. However, she disagreed and said that she wanted to fight for it herself. This made the teacher choke on his words. Little ancestor, I only allowed you to participate in the competition because I needed you. If you fight your way up layer by layer, you'll still be number 1. However, Little Red insisted on fighting the last match, so they had no choice. Thus, she was directly promoted. The second day was the real semi-finals. Because Little Seven directly advanced, the remaining 4 people drew lots to decide their opponents. Yu, who is your opponent? Little Seven came over and asked. Sima Yuyue shook her head and showed her signature. Number 2. Little Seven read it aloud, then said to the other 3, which one of you is number 2? Hua Piaomiao waved the stick in her hand. You are number 2? 7 asked. Hua Piaomiao nodded. She thought Little Seven was going to say something, but in the end, she pulled Sima Yuyue and left. Nowadays, there was no need to play together, so it was all one-on-one. First, then second. Sima Yuyue and Little Seven returned to the resting area. Yu, don't go easy on him during the competition. Little Seven said, I originally wanted to beat her up if I met her, but now it seems that she definitely can't beat you. So I don't have a chance. It's all up to you now. Last time in the Karma Desert, she said that to you. I remember it. Little Seven said, I've always wanted to beat her up, but I've never had the chance to do so openly. Isn't this an opportunity? So you have to make good use of it. Sima Yu was speechless by her words, but she could still listen to her. Previously, a certain someone kept saying that they were new students and didn't take them seriously at all. Now that he had met her, it would be good to take her down a notch. Otherwise, she would always be so high and mighty. On the stage, Mo Bin and Wang Si Miao's duel could not be said to be earth-shattering, but it was also brilliant beyond compare, making the people watching from the grandstand slap the table in praise. Wang Si Miao was ranked second in the previous Wind Cloud ranking list, and his strength was definitely not to be underestimated. Mo Bin was ranked 5th last time, but he had improved very quickly in the past 10 years. Their strength was almost the same, so they were naturally equally matched. Yu, who do you think will win? Little Seven asked. It's hard to say, Sima Yuyue said, but I think no matter who wins, they won't win much. If it wasn't in the ring but in real life, I think both sides would suffer. The difference isn't that big. Little Seven said, but they aren't your match. You really think highly of me? Sima Yuyue said. Of course, I know your strength. Your ability to fight those of a higher level is amazing. Little Seven said confidently. I still can't compare to you. But, how strong are you now? Sima Yuyue looked at her curiously. At first, when she saw Little Seven kill the 2 monarch-ranked experts with one punch, she thought that she was a high-level monarch-ranked expert. Then, she killed Lei Tian Quan, a high-level monarch-ranked expert. She knew that Little Seven's strength was slightly higher than a monarch-ranked expert, but it shouldn't be too far off. However, that day, she actually fought with Li Ying for so long without being at a disadvantage. At that time, she knew that Little Seven's strength was not what she thought it was. I'm not telling you. Little Seven giggled as she held onto her arm, saying, just remember that I'm very weak and need your protection. Sima Yuyue looked at her speechlessly. Was this girl planning to hide her strength and pretend to be weak? But how was she like that? But if she didn't want to say, then so be it. It wasn't important anyway. Very quickly, the outcome of the duel on the stage was decided. Just as Sima Yuyue and the rest had guessed, Wang Si Miao won by a narrow margin. First group, Wang Si Miao wins. Second group, begin. Sima Yuyue and Hua Piao Miao, who was sitting on the other side of the resting area, stood up. The two of them looked at each other and flew up the stage at the same time. I didn't expect that you would make it this far. Hua Piao Miao stood still and smiled, saying, as a new student, you've created a legendary result. But your legend is about to end. As a new student, you're already very impressive. As your senior sister, I'm very proud of you. Sima Yuyue looked at the smile on her face and thought of a phrase from her previous life. White Lotus, it was really suitable for her. Originally, she didn't want to slap her face so much, but she kept saying that she was a new student and that she was not bad. It made her feel very uncomfortable. Whether she was capable or not, she didn't need such a hypocrite to judge her. Since Hua Piao Miao was always so high up and looked down on everyone, then she would let her have a taste of falling into the mortal world and rolling around in the mud. So that she wouldn't look like a new student in the future. Senior Hua, let's not talk about other things, please. Sima Yuyue interrupted her. It was the first time Hua Piao Miao was interrupted in public. Even if Mo Bin didn't like to talk to her in the past, it wouldn't be like this. This new student really didn't know how to respect people. Moreover, a guy shouldn't be so disrespectful to a girl. Feeling embarrassed, She couldn't maintain the smile on her face. Don't think that you can dominate the school with phone. I'll let you understand. Senior, you talk too much. Sima Yue condensed her spiritual energy and looked at her, as if saying, if you continue to be so long-winded, I'll directly attack. Hua Piao Miao couldn't maintain her face anymore. She pulled a long face and said, it's not good for new students to be too arrogant. I'll teach you how to conduct yourself on behalf of your parents. Sima Yue heard this and her face immediately darkened. Teach her how to conduct herself on behalf of her parents? Was she saying that her parents didn't teach her well? She could tolerate her talking bad about her, but she wouldn't allow her to criticize her parents. In her previous life, her parents were very good. In this life, no matter if it was her biological parents or her parents in name, they weren't by her side. She believed that they had their own difficulties, which was why they couldn't accompany her as she grew up. Who wouldn't love their own child? Who wouldn't want to be by their child's side? They already suffered so much, what right did an outsider have to judge? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but be furious. She threw a fireball over and shouted coldly, teach me on behalf of my parents? You don't have that right. Taz. Chapter 878. The fireball flew towards Hua Piao Miao. The flame carried Yoyue's anger and burned even more vigorously. Hua Piao Miao didn't take her attack seriously. Her hands made a beautiful knot in front of her chest, and a water dragon flowed out from her palms. The water dragon flew around her body a few times, protecting her in the middle. As the fireball approached the water dragon, it gradually extinguished. Flood dragon goes to sea. Hua Piao Miao yelled. The water dragon that was surrounding her flew out and grew rapidly behind her. The small water dragon turned into a huge flood dragon. Ong! The flood dragon actually let out a real roar, stunning everyone present. She's actually making a sound. Her spiritual skill is too powerful. Isn't that so? Normally, the spirit beasts created by spirit techniques would not be able to make a sound. I didn't expect her to be able to. As expected of the person ranked third on the wind cloud list. His strength is indeed different. Senior Sister Hua must be angry. I've never seen her use this move before. This flood dragon emerges from the sea is one of Hua Piao Miao's ultimate skills. She usually doesn't use it. I didn't expect that she would actually use it to deal with a freshman. Looks like she's really angry. Huh, who asked her to make Senior Hua angry? That's right. Senior Sister Hua kindly reminded her, but she didn't take it seriously and even dared to disrespect Senior Sister Hua. I want her to have a taste of Senior Hua's power and see if she still dares to speak like that in the future. Sima Yue looked at the flood dragon that was getting bigger and bigger. She was not afraid. Instead, she quickly formed a seal with her hands and a small vermilion bird was formed in front of her. Chirp chirp, the little vermilion bird was only a foot long after it was fully formed. Compared to the flood dragon which was several meters long, it was like an ant compared to an elephant. There was no comparison in terms of size. Ha ha ha, look at her spiritual skill. How can such a small spirit beast be compared to Senior Sister Hua's flood dragon? That dragon will definitely take care of that little bird in a matter of minutes. That's for sure. When Fatty Chu and the others heard their discussions, they angrily said, a bunch of love-struck fools. Wait until Yoyue's bird kills her flood dragon. Let's see if you will still say that. If they want to say it, then let them. In any case, the final result will be a slap to their faces. Wei Ziqi said. The two spirit beasts had successfully transformed. As soon as their masters gave the order, they attacked each other. Ong! Chirp chirp, the two spirit beasts met in the air. One was fire, the other was water. Their attributes were opposite. After they met, a huge collision occurred. It was as if they were real spirit beasts. It didn't disperse, the people in the stands said in surprise. Hua Piaomiao's ability was higher than Sima Yoyue's. When the two spirit beasts collided, shouldn't little vermilion bird have dispersed? However, the little vermilion bird only trembled slightly, and didn't seem like it was going to dissipate at all. Instead, it was the flood dragon's body that swayed slightly. Flood dragon, go and eat them. Hua Piao Miao ordered. Little vermilion bird, go. Let her see if she has the ability to eat you, Sima Yuyue said. Upon receiving their master's orders, the two beasts charged forward again and the little vermilion bird flew into the flood dragon's mouth. Ong! The flood dragon swallowed the little vermilion bird and let out a high-pitched cry to celebrate its victory. However, before he could finish speaking, the voice behind him became incomparably sharp, as if he was experiencing pain. Chirp chirp, the little vermilion bird that everyone thought had already dispersed suddenly cried out. That sound came from the flood dragon's stomach. Chirp chirp, ong. Little vermilion bird flew out from the flood dragon's stomach. The latter let out a shrill cry and dissipated into a bit of familiar spirit energy, fusing into the air. That little bird actually broke Hua Piao Miao's flood dragon out of the sea. Both of their attributes counter each other. Water can destroy fire, but fire can also turn water into air. No matter what, the fire attribute's attack is always stronger than the water attributes. I just won by a little. Someone said, Hua Piao Miao has more than one ultimate skill. Hua Piao Miao also knew that the fire and water attributes counter each other. The reason why her flood dragon lost was because of their attributes counter each other. Ice sword. She shouted again and formed a seal with both hands. Many ice arrows flew towards Sima Yuyue. Dual attribute spirit master? Sima Yuyue muttered, it's not rare to have dual attributes, but it's rare to have a combination of ice and water. Seeing that the ice arrows were about to reach her, not only did she not move, she even stood there in a daze. Chirp chirp, little vermilion bird flew over and ate all the ice arrows. This was also considered a form of defense. Hua Piao Miao did not think that little vermilion bird actually had the ability to swallow her spirit technique. Hence, she did not use all her strength. Now that the ice arrows were eaten, there was no use regretting. You do have some skills. Hua Piao Miao said, unfortunately, this is not enough. Whether it's enough or not, Senior Hua will know in a while. Sima Yuyue said. You're really confident. I hope you can still be like this later. Hua Piao Miao said, I don't like to drag my battles. Let's end this quickly. You have to take the next move well. After speaking, she formed a seal with both hands quickly. Streams of water flowed out from her palms. The water flowed to the ground and became more numerous. Very quickly, the entire arena was filled with water. Because there was a barrier around the arena, the water did not flow down the edge of the arena. Instead, it rose higher and higher. The water seemed to be sticky as it stuck to her feet, preventing her from flying. Ice ceiling 10,000 miles. She stretched out both hands with her palms facing upwards. A cold aura was emitted from her body, causing the temperature in the entire barrier to drop. Sima Yuyue felt her face turn cold. She raised her head and saw that it was actually snowing. This was not the peak of a mountain, nor was it an extremely cold place. She actually managed to make snow here. This Hua Piao Miao's ability had already reached the level of being able to melt with nature. Those snowflakes were not natural snowflakes. After they fell into the water, they quickly froze the water. Then, with them as the center, the surrounding water was frozen as well. Kacha kacha, the sound of ice forming was extremely loud. Sima Yuyue lowered her head. The ice had already reached her ankles. It's not too late for you to admit defeat now. Hua Piao Miao said, if your entire body is frozen, even if I control my strength, you will still be injured. She still had that fake look on her face. Sima Yuyue glanced at her and rejected her flatly. Isn't it a little too early for me to admit defeat now? Then we'll have to continue. Hua Piao Miao said, if you admit defeat, I will stop immediately. Sima Yuyue's body ignited with flames, but it could not stop the ice from spreading. This is not a water attribute. Your flames will not cause much damage to it. Hua Piaomiao said, if you turn the ice into water, it will extinguish your water. If you want to use this to break it, it won't work. Who said I want to use this? Sima Yuyue said, isn't it just a dual attribute? You're not the only one who has it. Chapter 879. Hua Piaomiao looked at her. She was so calm and confident. Could it be that she really had other moves to counter her spiritual technique? Sima Yuyue stretched out her hands. There was no flame in her palms, but a ball of golden spiritual energy. Metal attribute spirit power, you are also a dual elemental spirit master. Hua Piaomiao was shocked. Previously, no one knew that Sima Yuyue was actually a dual elemental soul master. She had always used fire elemental soul power in her battles. She didn't expect her to reveal it now. The people in the stands were also surprised. It wasn't that they had never seen a dual element soul master before, but they had never seen such a low-key soul master. If it was an ordinary person, he would have made it known to everyone long ago. The spiritual power in Yoyue's hand turned into a halberd that looked just like the heaven's halberd. She picked up the halberd and ruthlessly stabbed it down. The entire ice surface, with the halberd as the center, began to crack. When the ice cubes around her feet shattered into ice shards, she stomped her feet, shook off the ice shards on her body, and then quickly flew into the air. At the same time, she quickly condensed fire-type spiritual energy in her palm. The spiritual energy transformed into flames and another small vermilion bird appeared. However, this time, the little vermilion bird was not as small as before. When it flew down from the sky, it grew bigger and bigger. By the time it reached the stage, it was almost half the size of the stage. Hua Piaomiao could feel the heat released by the flames this time. She didn't dare to be careless. She quickly formed a water circle around her to protect herself, blocking the flames outside. From her point of view, Sima Yuyue needed a lot of spiritual energy to maintain such a huge flame. However, her own defense did not require much spiritual energy. As long as he exhausted her fire attribute spirit energy, then used his water attribute spirit energy to deal with her metal attribute spirit energy, he would be able to win. After a while, the flames slowly died down. Through the water screen, Hua Piaomiao saw that the ice she had formed earlier had turned into water. The entire arena was wet. She removed the water screen and raised her head to see Sima Yuyue looking at her with a familiar spiritual energy. We can end this. Sima Yuyue struck down a few lightning attribute bolts. One of them struck towards Hua Piaomiao while the rest struck towards the water on the ground. CICI. Ice was an insulator, but water was a very good conductor. All the electricity flowed chaotically on the stage, and all of it flowed towards Hua Piaomiao. Ah! Hua Piaomiao blocked the lightning from the sky, but she was electrocuted by the current from the water. Her whole body was electrocuted black, and her hair was curled up. CICI. The electric current flowed all over her body. She couldn't resist it even if she wanted to. She fell into the water and kept twitching. Heavens! She's a three-element spirit master, someone on the viewing platform shouted. There were many dual elemental spiritual masters, but there were not many triple elemental spiritual masters. Recently, they rarely appeared. He did not expect her to be a triple elemental spiritual master. So low-key is a tri-elemental psychic master. Everyone felt that they had been provoked today. She was constantly refreshing everyone's understanding of her. Sima Yuyue fell from the sky into the water. The electric current crawled up her body, but it did not cause any harm to her. She looked straight at the person on the ground and said, "Senior Hua, you've lost. I'm sorry, but I, as a new student, accidentally beat you." Hua Piaomiao looked at her with difficulty. Seeing the coldness in her eyes, a murderous intent emerged in her heart. "Senior Sister Hua, you want to kill me?" Sima Yu could feel her murderous intent, saying, "It's just a competition." Could it be that Senior Sister Hua wants to kill me just because she lost the competition? It looks like senior sister Hua's parents have brought up a narrow-minded daughter. If Hua Piao Miao really wanted to kill her, she would not be soft-hearted. Hua Piao Miao almost vomited blood from Yoyue's words. Before the competition, she secretly mocked her for being uneducated. She did not expect her to retaliate so quickly. How could her Hua family's honor be slandered by a lowly human like her? Her arrogant Thousand Crane clan would not allow her to lose to a human. Thinking of this, white feathers began to grow on her body. An aura that belonged to a spirit beast exploded from her body. Bird clan, Sima Yuyue did not expect Hua Piao Miao to become like this. She was very surprised. She did not hear that she was from the bird clan. Not only her, even the teachers and students of the school were shocked. No one knew that she was a spirit beast. No, this aura is not pure from the bird clan. Sima Yuyue quickly denied her own thoughts. It just has the aura of the bird clan. It should be the bloodline of the bird clan. A person with the bloodline of the bird clan. Aya, isn't this a birdman? Hua Piao Miao almost vomited blood because of her words. Everyone on the spectator stand laughed because of this. Especially Little Seven in the resting area and Fatty Chu on the spectator stand. Both of them were laughing so hard that they held their stomachs. Birdman, ha ha ha, Birdman, that's a good word. Little Seven laid on a chair in the resting area and held her stomach. Her two little legs kept kicking on the chair. Hua Piao Miao stood up and looked at Sima Yuyue. Her eyes were filled with ruthlessness. At this moment, her body was still in human form, but there was a pair of wings on her back. Her clothes were torn apart and her entire body was covered in white feathers. There aren't many people who can force me to this stage. She shook her wings and flew up from the water, leaving the lightning. You really look like a birdman now. Sima Yuyue said. Humph, a lowly human dares to slander my noble Thousand Crane bloodline. I can't let you go. Hua Piao Miao shouted. She shook her wings and quickly flew towards Sima Yuyue. After activating her bloodline, her body was comparable to a spirit beast. Although the Thousand Crane clan's body was not the strongest among all spirit beasts, it was more than enough to deal with a human spirit master. However, she missed out on one thing. Yoyue's body was not a normal body. She had trained her body for so long and had been tempered by lightning. Her body was already comparable to a spirit beast's. Of course, her lips and earlobes were still soft. Otherwise, Mo Sha would not have bitten them. Yu, go, beat her up and pull out all her feathers. Little Seven jumped on the ground and shouted at Sima Yuyue. Everyone looked at Little Seven speechlessly. She had a spirit beast's bloodline. Even if there were rumors that Yuyue walked the path of training her body and her body was stronger than a normal spirit master, it was impossible for her to be stronger than someone with a spirit beast's bloodline. Furthermore, who cheered someone on like that? What did she mean by pulling out all her feathers? That was too uncultured. If Little Seven knew what they were thinking, she would definitely ask, what is cultured? Can it be eaten? If not, then shut up. Hua Piao Miao's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, she was in front of Sima Yuyue. She reached out her hand towards Sima Yuyue, wanting to tear her apart. At this moment, Sima Yuyue saw that her hand had turned into claws. It looked really ugly. Chapter 880. Hua Piao Miao sent a palm strike over and Sima Yuyue welcomed it with her palm. Everyone thought that Sima Yuyue's palm would definitely be injured, but the two of them flew back after their palms collided. They did not expect to see Sima Yuyue's palm being severed. What a strong body! Wang Si Miao exclaimed as he looked at Sima Yuyue. It's dozens of times stronger than our bodies, Mo Bin said. He and Wang Si Miao were both training their bodies. Although they weren't purely on the path of body refinement, they were still stronger than the average person. But if it were them, they wouldn't dare to receive Hua Piao Miao's palm, let alone retaliate. Hua Piao Miao retreated tens of meters before stopping. She felt the pain in her palm. She stared at Sima Yue in shock. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. Sima Yue's hand was also in pain. She shook it a few times and muttered, "This fellow's webbed palm is really hard. It hurts so much." The people around them heard her words and looked at their hands, feeling speechless. Obviously, Hua Piao Miao's hand was trembling more, but your hand wasn't trembling at all. You still have the cheek to say that you're in pain? Humph. The viciousness in Hua Piao Miao's eyes increased. She paused for a while and continued to fly towards Sima Yue. Again. Sima Yue shouted and went forward again. In close combat, the two of them were extremely fast. The people outside realized that their eyes could not keep up with their speed. The two of them continued fighting for more than 10 minutes. Sima Yue's hands were hurting. This birdman was really thick-skinned. "Yu, pluck her feathers." Little Seven shouted from below the stage. It seemed that she hadn't given up on this. When Hua Piao Miao heard Lil Seven's words, she was even angrier. "The two of them are ganging up to humiliate me. Kill her. Kill Sima Yue." A voice in her body was clamoring, causing her to gradually lose her rationality. She became even crazier and more ruthless. Sima Yue felt her change. Seeing Hua Piao Miao's eyes turn blood red, she knew that she was completely controlled by the spirit beast bloodline in her body. "You want to kill me? Let's see if you have the ability." Hua Piao Miao sent a kick towards her head. Yue didn't dodge this time. She just tilted her body and avoided her attack. At the same time, she grabbed onto her ankle. Spiritual power quickly condensed in her hand and flames started to burn. Ah! Almost her entire leg was on fire. She screamed and kicked Sima Yue's hand away. She flew to the back in condensed water to extinguish the fire on her leg. Although the fire was extinguished, all the feathers on her leg had been burned away, leaving only a few sparse feathers. Her entire leg was pitch black. Ha ha ha. Little Seven laughed loudly below the stage. "You didn't pluck her feathers. Burning her feathers isn't bad either. Ha ha ha. Shut up." Hua Piao Miao shouted at Little Seven. That manic look was not as gentle and elegant as before. Little Seven made a strange face at her and said, No, I want to laugh." "Ha ha ha, you, burn all the feathers on her body. Good luck." Hua Piao Miao couldn't go down to kill Little Seven. She could only direct her anger to Sima Yue. "How dare you burn my precious feathers? You're courting death." She pulled her wings back, and an illusion of 1,000 cranes appeared behind her. The illusion had its eyes closed. Although its eyes couldn't be seen, one could still feel the vigorous energy in its body. On the rostrum, the teacher in charge of hosting looked at Mao Senquan and asked, "Instructor Mao, do you want to?" Mao Senquan shook his head, indicating that he didn't need to care. This was not a problem for her. That teacher saw this and didn't say anything else. However, he was extremely nervous as he stared at the arena. If something really happened, he would be able to react immediately. Sima Yue looked at the 1,000 crane with its eyes closed. Her instincts told her that it was very dangerous. "Crane deity, go and eat her." Hua Piao Miao's face was pale and her voice was weak. With her current strength, it was impossible for her to summon the crane deity. However, she had already lost her mind. As long as she could kill Sima Yue, she didn't care even if she suffered a backlash. That crane deity raised its head and looked high and mighty. Although it wasn't willing to listen to her, it still moved its wings. Just a slight movement and a strong gust of wind appeared on the arena. That gust of wind contained a huge force and blew towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue instinctively put her hands in front of her, trying to block the wind. However, the wind was too strong and she felt pain all over her body. Spatial lock. She had sealed the surrounding space. Now, no matter how strong the wind was, it wouldn't touch her body. Spatial lock. The teacher on the rostrum shouted. The people on the spectator stand also felt the power of the wind. However, because of the barrier around the arena, the wind wasn't strong. They saw that Sima Yuyue couldn't open her eyes because of the wind, but suddenly, it seemed like she couldn't be touched. Just as they were curious, they heard the teacher on the rostrum shout out spatial lock. Only then did they know the reason. Spatial lock, isn't it only an array master who knows how to use it? She's also an array master. Definitely, or else she wouldn't use this move. You guys are wrong. Spatial lock is only an array master, but it doesn't mean that all array masters know this move. This also depends on talent. Isn't she an alchemist? How did she become an array master? You must have been shocked silly. Of course she's an alchemist and an array master. F***CK, fire, metal and lightning tri-attribute spirit master. She's also an array master and an alchemist. Is this something a normal person can do? No. Someone shook his head. Yes. This is something only a pervert can do. And she is simply a demon. PFFF, Fatty Chu laughed unkindly when he heard this. Is she a pervert or a demon? He laughed. Which do you guys think you would like to be called? You can go and ask. Wei Ziqi said. No, she'll definitely beat me up. Fatty Chu rejected decisively. These fellows wanted him to be cannon fodder. He wouldn't go. Let's continue watching the competition. Bei Gong Tang said. That thing, I keep feeling that it's a little dangerous. That unperturbed mirage beast was definitely not something easy to deal with. She glanced at Mao Sanquan and the others. They didn't let the teacher stop the competition. She didn't know if they were sure that nothing would happen. However, Yuyue had so many tricks up her sleeves. She should be able to deal with it. Only then did the so-called divine crane open its eyes a little. It let out a clear cry and lowered its proud head. It retracted its wings and the wind on the stage immediately stopped. You're also an array master. Hua Piao Miao reached out her hand to cover her chest. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. After forcefully summoning the divine crane for so long, she couldn't hold on any longer. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.